like that.
Okay, ready? Look at him, he's mid-drink.
Ready, sure.
Hello.
I'm ready for
By the way,
everyone,
when
and
he
welcome
says
back to All Things
ready,
Real Time. Listen, we're going to start off. I'm going to apologize. I am sorry. We're an hour behind schedule. It's been too long since I did a podcast, and I got stuck checking the audio levels because I have a very divine system that's been passed down from generation to generation, and it's not going well. But it's sorted now. The audio levels are bad on purpose, and if you're watching this and about to comment on the audio, it's to spite you. I hate you. Lorimbo, how are you?
I'm terrible as always. I'm more terrible than usual because I don't mind waiting 1 hour. But when we have a banger guest and you make him wait 1 hour, it's kind of disrespectful. And on that topic, today, special episode, we actually for once got someone that's not us. We've got here Blodir. Introduce yourself, Blodir.
Well, I'm really happy to be here because I get to hang out with the greatest people in the universe. You know, Lorimbo. And this HaRT guy, I don't know who this HaRT guy is.
I think Blodir's trying to get invited back, I can't lie. Seems like he wants to come on again.
Well, I don't know who this HaRT guy is, but Lorimbo is really great.
Maybe not.
You know, someone actually told me at one point. I don't know if I said this already on the podcast.
You said it on. You refuse to tell me who it is that said this, but you have told me this.
I know who it is. I remember who it is, but I'm not gonna tell you. Someone at one point told me your podcast is great, but I don't know about I don't know about that British guy. But I completely seriously. I can't.
The worst. Anyway, let's talk a bit about Blodir. Welcome. Thanks for having us. We got to ask you some questions, but I think we should start off by saying where we know you from and how we know you. And we know Blodir thanks to the best game of all time, Stormgate, of course.
Yeah.
We know Blodir. We know Blodir through incredible Finnish parties.
Yeah.
A lot of alcohol. No, that's not true. That's not true. One day, if I meet Blodir, I'm gonna offer him a shit ton of beers. I'm sure that as every Finnish person ever is an alcoholic. That's just kind of part of living in Finland.
I'm gonna be really disappointed. I don't drink.
I don't drink either. You're not gonna disappoint me.
There we go. You're really great. I really like you. What a great guy.
I wish
That's why I
this
said I was gonna offer you a beer.
It'd be so fun if you met in real life and you both brought each other alcohol and then neither of you are happy because neither of you drink it. So we met Blodir through Stormgate. It started off, I guess, I can't remember which test. It was the first one we were in.
No, I can tell you exactly. We have met him in the balance patch that was known at the time with the name Baneling.
Yeah, that's the one I think. Yeah.
The first patch with Infernal.
Yeah,
that's where we met. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that the way we met is just by hanging out in the Stormgate voice shots. Mm-hmm. It was me, Blodir, Pillow, and Tarps.
Yep.
Mostly.
You remember the picture from back then?
Yeah. We have to put it. Maybe in post edit we can edit the meme. Oh, we had it. We had it. Holy fuck. He had it prepared. This is not scripted, by the way. I didn't know he had it.
I got it.
It's really good, yeah.
Are you happy being portrayed as this weird gremlin character, Lorimbo?
I think this is pretty accurate. Because no, show it again. You can see from this picture who's like the most normal, like Pillows and Tarps, and then who's really devious, like Blodir and I. Like, I think there is in this picture we are well represented, even in our
devious now. What that is? It's just because I play SubCom, I'm devious. Hello.
No. I'm not talking about SubCom. I'm talking specifically about how you played the other RTS. Because I haven't forgotten how you play Stormgate, and I haven't forgotten you fucking played Battle Aces. I gave this guy a key to Battle Aces, and you know what he does? He plays the most abusable, fucking low-level shit that he can find.
Oh, that was the highest strategy in the game.
Spams it to fucking top level. It was...
Let him defend himself.
Legit, like, Wasps, I know they were in, but like, they were the highest skill cap unit, weren't they?
That is true. But because everything else played by itself. But we're completely busted. Don't even try. I have you on record. I have you on record. Said I know they were imba. I have so many writings from Blodir at the time. It's coping so hard.
Look, that's the only way to make the game interesting. Okay, the rest of the units not that interesting, right?
I have the DMs from Blodir at the time being like, no. Wasps not in battle. You just have a skill issue. We have him on film.
That's not exactly what I said there. I said that you are full of copium.
Oh my fucking
I said
god!
That Wasp might be imba, but you're full of copium. That's why
I said. They were so fucking bastard.
You were so full of copium as well. You were so upset after you lost as well.
But no, I wasn't upsetting. I wasn't upset at losing in general. I was upset at losing specifically to Wasp. I hated the unit. It actually me. For me, this is the Wasp was for Battle Ace. What the fucking Morph Core Rush was for Stormgate. Yes! No. 0 brain cells required, 0 skill. A monkey could do it. HaRT's dog could do it. Don't even try. And people were coping so hard. I'm not abusing the game. This is a strategy like every other. I'm not ruining everyone else's experience by playing something that's a completely busted. It might as well be a button with written, do you want to win easy?
This might be the shortest amount of time we can have a guest on the podcast for, because he's no way he's going to sit through 2 hours of this. Thanks for joining us anyway, Blodir.
Over. You know, from all that time, like it's been like 5 months and you're still on it.
Yeah. You think I will forget a grudge? I never forget a grudge, Blodir. No, I never forget a grudge.
It's like 1 week of play, lifetime grudge.
I'm gonna get you a 0 space. I'm gonna get you a 0 space key. Another one for myself. I'm gonna get a second account. Track your PC. Put a fucking rootkit in your PC. Non-stop snipe. You couldn't, and just fucking play the most dumb fucking bogan shit so that your 0 space experience is as fucking miserable as you made my Battle Ace one. With
maybe,
like,
maybe this is why we don't get many guests on this podcast. Anyway, I'm going to soldier on doing Blodir's bio. Blodir, you're a big fan of famously Beyond All Reason and Supreme Commander, which personally I'm clueless about, and I think Lorimbo is as well.
Yeah.
But they're out there.
Mostly.
I played SubCom since 2013, right?
Oh, really? Okay.
And not for the last year or so. I played BAR for the first time this year, I think, or maybe last December. But so like, you know, and I didn't play for like 6 months at some point as well. So it's not like I'm not like the biggest BAR gamer out there in terms of like hours played. Like I don't have like 1,000 hours played or anything like that. So, you know, I wouldn't call myself like BAR player primarily, SubCom player. But yeah, I do like both of those games. I think they're both great games. And SubCom is like S tier. StarCraft's like B tier. You know, BAR is like B tier. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe A tier.
Okay. Yeah. Can we get an Age of Empires rating as well? Because
no, wait. I'm holding that. No spoiler. I'm holding that for later, Art. Come on, what the fuck? Okay, you see, but you can clearly see that these are not scripted because we ruin each other's point. No, okay. First off, because we haven't actually we have said who Blodir is. Kinda. I'm pretty sure that the public still doesn't understand who the fuck is. It's a good RTS player. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. So now the reason why we got Blodir here has actually nothing to do with RTS. Blodir is actually now going to explain us the influence of Toby Fox and Homestuck in the history of music, video game music. I'm kidding. This is a super niche reference that no one is going to get. Jokes aside, first of all, Blodir, I have to say this for the players at home. It's not only it is a player that's mostly known for SubCom, but he has been invited here specifically because he has been an amazing player in every single RTS that I've seen him on, including stuff like Stormgate and StarCraft. And more importantly, as you might notice in some of our comments in previous videos, he has expressed what I consider to be interesting and nuanced point of views. Now, as I've stated before to him, YouTube comments aren't exactly the premier place to have interesting discussions about stuff.
Yeah.
So
When you
exactly
have any opinions in the podcast, you just have to leave some comments. What can you do?
I feel like I've been like subtweeting at him for like 3 episodes where I would like say
Yeah.
something and then he'd have to reply in a YouTube comment and then I'd write a YouTube comment and then we'd kind
Yeah.
of leave it. But yeah, that is why we invited him on. Lorimbo, before we do this, I sent you a message on Discord and you sent me a question mark. How do you think you
Yeah.
pronounce what I sent you? It's Finnish.
I mean, isn't that just his name? I
Yeah, but how do you say that?
don't want to say. I don't want to fucking dox him. Are you
Yeah,
insane?
I checked. He's okay.
I've already
he's okay.
talked myself. It's like it's trivial. to
Okay,
find,
okay. Piri Makinen?
That's actually really good.
I've been told that Finnish is pronounced somewhat similar to Italian, so I just put...
hard trying it.
Wait, I need to read it. Hang on. Piri Makinen?
Look, they can't roll their R's. Those
Oh no, I
you
really
know,
can't.
people.
Piri Makinen? Something
Piri.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way I'm pronouncing that. Look,
No,
we have
but,
figured out...
Lorimbo, you're doing a really good job. I think especially Britons have the worst time of it, from what I can remember.
Just so you know, HaRT cannot pronounce my name. You know that?
Lorenzo.
Like, that's the best part. So I've told him, a lot of people that know me cannot pronounce my name correctly. And he's like, no way, that's so easy. I'm like, HaRT, I'm not even sure you know how to pronounce my name correctly. So I asked him to pronounce it, and he doesn't properly pronounce it. I think you pronounce it correctly, actually, now for the first time I ever heard you, or kinda. Say it
Lorenzo.
again.
No, I'm not
Lorenzo?
doing it.
No, see, you're okay. So the problem is specifically in the last sound. It's Lorenzo.
Lorenzo.
Yeah, that's correct. But for
Okay.
some reason, they internationally speaking, a lot of people struggle with that sound and they pronounce it Lorenzo. So it's Z instead of Z. So I've taken to write my name with TS because that's kind of how you pronounce it. It makes it easier for people to pronounce it.
But I
Yeah, but
refuse
then
to
they're
say
gonna
it.
fight
I'm
like
not giving you any more power. It's Voldemort rules. It's he who shall not be named. I'm not saying it.
I don't mind people. I don't mind people calling me by my real name. Even if they mispronounce it, I don't mind it at all. It doesn't bother me.
Honestly, yeah.
Okay, but I will say that asking for someone for a Finnish pronunciation is like asking for someone for a Polish pronunciation. Like you're kind of cheating. It's an infamously very hard language to read. So it's like, it's not exactly the best. Let's get into topic for now. How long are we? Is this a 20
This is good.
minutes
This was a good
intro?
intro. This was good.
We have been accused of
it's a
making
sub
20 minutes
15.
intros. Sub 15, new world record.
We should start putting a split timer on the screen, but we should do it where we start the split when I start setting up, so it'll already be like an hour deep, and then we'll compare between different episodes.
I think you'd be pretty far in the minus for the first split, for sure.
The first
Yeah.
hour is just me trying to figure out why the audio isn't working properly.
I mean, okay, you would think, as I said, that once he fixes the audio, he can just keep that setting. But we have had 20 episodes at this
Yeah, but
point?
you have to do carpenter first too, so you got
Yeah,
that.
and I moved house,
take
and
it out.
everything moved, and the acoustics changed. Right?
Even when you were in the same house, in the same place. I actually think we needed less time for the one that we did across the world when HaRT was literally in Los Angeles or wherever the fuck he was, like in California, somewhere. That one actually took less time than the ones that we do from our own houses.
It's kind of true. But you know why? And that's because we all recorded our audio separately. Whereas
Yeah, that one
now
we
do it
did record
separately.
separately. Yeah,
It's
that
okay.
one we did separately. Okay.
So let me summarize. And let me summarize the YouTube comment discussions that we've been having. This has been kind of a running theme of the past few podcasts. And I even brought it up in the last episode, like that you just shouted out, the one we did with Theory and Albino. Essentially, kind of my thesis statement, I guess, is that I think quite strongly that RTS as a genre quite broadly has lost out on player base to the MOBAs. And I think mainly Dota and LoL, being the two biggest MOBAs, have taken over some RTS player base. My thinking, therefore, is that for future RTSs to be successful, they need to try and win those players back. They, those, it might not be the exact same people, but those types of people who are very competitive, like grinding out games, are into this like fast-paced kind of style of game, would previously, if they'd been born 10 years earlier, been like prime StarCraft players, are now League of Legends players. And I think for RTS to be successful going forwards, we need to convince them to come back. That's the start of my argument. Lorimbo can add.
I
now,
just wanted to add a very
Blodir
little addendum. I'm mostly fine with what Art said. I just wanted to add a little addendum. I think the genre of games that StarCraft is hemorrhaging players to is even bigger than what Art said. I think actually I've seen a lot of really good StarCraft players switch to very competitive single player shooters, and not CS actually that much. Mostly stuff like Apex or Fortnite. You know that Mirtillo was actually a top Fortnite player. Unironically, this is actually happened at one point. Even like stuff like Oso or fuck, what was I thinking about? For those that like for more of the strategy sides, auto chess, TFT, and stuff like that. So like
Yeah,
I've seen a very
an
hemorrhage that's more wide. That's
a
what
not
that's
insignificant number. So Bloody still hasn't said anything, but I'll keep going. A not insignificant number have gone to Overwatch and CS, now CS2 as well. My contention with those games is that I think RTS is too far removed to the point where you can't make your RTS game more of an FPS game, but you could make your RTS game more MOBA-like. So I think you can't appeal to the shooter people.
Oh, I disagree with everything you guys said.
Okay, you go, please.
So, like, do you think MOBAs are a subgenre of RTS? Are they a subset?
I'm not that bothered about like the
Like,
kind
they're
of family
basically-
tree.
I mean,
they're
I think
really
they're
strategy
linked.
friendly, right? Like you're controlling one character, but like otherwise they kind of are.
It kind of depends on your definition of subgenre. I actually went the opposite way, right? I started with 10 years of the LOL, and then went into RTS after the pandemic. So for me, it was the after. I will say though, I actually don't consider them to be that much alike. Even though mechanically speaking, objectively speaking, I think Blodir is correct. But at least in the kind of experience they provide, MOBAs are specifically catered to have kind of a mix between competitive game modes, but it's mostly something that you play with friends. The big appeal of it is that every game is wildly different. You can play a million champions, you can try out different builds, your teams are gonna be different, the ways are gonna be different, and that's kind of what, like, in my opinion, at least from my personal experience or other people I asked, that's kind of the core appeal. You get into the game. I can't say the games are quick, but getting the game as in understanding how the game works kinda takes like 1 or 2 games, and you're like kind of like, I kind of see how it goes, and then you play a different champion every time. There's like always new stuff. It really feels into that cycle. So experience-wise, I felt they were different.
MOBAs as a genre are pretty weird, right? They're really specific. For it to be a MOBA, you pretty much have to have lanes. Okay, like I get that. Like basic of it is like, okay, you have heroes, but like every game, like all those hero shooters, yeah, they have heroes. Okay, and like you could even say that like your character in other first person games as well, like could be considered a hero or whatever, right? Like, is it the requirement to choose from a set of characters to be a MOBA? Well, I mean, you can choose from a set of characters if you're playing Street Fighter or whatever, right? So, like, MOBA is really specific genre. It's the most specific genre I know of, pretty much, right? Like, it has lanes, it has minions running into each other. You have to be able to buy shit with your gold, pretty much, except HOTS doesn't really have that. But, like, it has talents, right? You have to be able to level up, has to have some RPG mechanic. It's a super fucking specific genre, right? Compared to RTS. Okay, so MOBA doesn't, as a genre, doesn't really play into any fantasy. Like, it kind of does, but it's like a more broad one. It's the RPG fantasy, right? Whereas, like, RTS games, they have this entire thing of like building your own civilization or whatever in society. There's lots of games that do that, right? there's Civilization, obviously. There's other genres of games that do kind of that. You build your own empire, you build your army, you have epic battles, you have, cool city building joined with, fighting opponents, right? And these are all separately popular things, and they're gonna stay relevant in culture for forever, pretty much, right? And so I think RTS games are inevitably gonna stay relevant forever to some extent, whereas MOBAs are like too specific of a genre to stay relevant forever. And MOBAs are really, I think they are, just a passing fad. And I know that it's lasted for like 10 years or whatever, right? And it's going to keep lasting probably for a long time. But I don't think there's going to be a MOBA in, 20 years, 30 years. I don't know. Or like maybe there's going to be more nation. There's going to be another genre. Just because it's so specific.
I don't disagree with what you said, but I will say that a recent, I guess pre-release, but a recent release has kind of thrown a spanner in the works for what you've just said, which is Deadlock, which is a MOBA by all of the criteria that you've given, but seems to be massively popular and will be a 10-year game like League and Dota are.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Maybe not 10 years. We don't know yet. Okay, maybe they managed to kill.
I'll have a 10-year bet with you.
I'd also put money, but I could also be careful. Like 10 years calls, I've seen them go wildly wrong. Some people in the past have said that Stormgate was gonna be a 10 years game. So let's chill for a second.
Okay. But I agree.
But you get the point, right?
I agree. The point. So what you're saying is like
games,
MOBA
universally, they're always going to be relevant to some extent, right? What is you saying, HaRT?
So, okay, MOBA is like a vehicle that you can project anything into. Like the core mechanic, like you're saying, of those, like, the things that you pointed out.
Again?
So, like you're saying, like, minions walking down waves, you select a single character, this sort of thing. I don't disagree with them. I think, though, you can apply that to, like, you can project many things into that kind of system, like Deadlock is, where Deadlock is very different, but it's still recognizable as a MOBA. To kind of, and this is like a very long conversation, which I guess is good for the podcast, but the conversation that you kind of bring up is RTS will always be relevant in the culture, and I agree with that. But my broader contention is, do we want a game that is relevant and people are like, oh yeah, Age of Empires, I've heard of Age of Empires, but they've never played it? Or do we want a very successful, very broadly played, very kind of not infinitely wide appeal? It's not like everyone is going to be playing it, but a wider appeal game that we see kind of what I would call mainstream success. So just to finish up, I think RTS, along with, I think I've said before, like fighting games and that sort of thing, will always have a very dedicated fan base of people who like them and play them, and those are RTS gamers or fighting gamers or turn-based card gamers, I don't know what you call those, TCG gamers or something. And these are all like niche communities, and niche communities I think will always exist because there will always be a subset of people those are their favorite thing. That's all they care about. But I think for me,
those people tend to score those people tend to score very highly on certain tests. But yeah,
right, big train fans. But what I'm saying is not that RTS will ever die. I don't think it ever will, and we'll see that through loads of like small indie projects which will pop up as a result of having a smaller genre. But what I think that I'm trying to kind of get across is that I think I'd like to see a game that was as big as StarCraft when StarCraft came out, where it was like it kickstarted a streaming genre all by itself. It was the most played like online multiplayer game.
Do you reckon that when StarCraft 2 came out, there just weren't MOBAs available? No, there was League, right? But it wasn't as popular, right? Do you think that MOBAs were just better and they outcompeted RTS games and that's it? No, do you think that people just prefer MOBA, like people who moved from RTS games or like StarCraft? You're talking StarCraft right here specifically. Do you think that those people who moved from StarCraft to MOBAs are like, okay, well, they're too far gone. Like they moved there because MOBAs are just more their jam, and they would never be interested in RTS games anyways.
This is kind of my next point, an extension of the point I just made, which is that I think, as Lorimbo said earlier, these are social games, and I think these are a game that you can play with 5 of your friends or more, because sometimes you'll be in a call with 7 people, and 5 will be in your game, and 2 will be playing solo queue and hanging out, and you end up with like a much more social experience. Is always, in my opinion, more having a social experience is a really good way of getting more people interested in your game and involved in your game, because not only do you play it, but you rope in 4 people and you will play it. But
Can I stop you there?
sure, yeah.
Because you're conflating RTS games with single like 1v1 games. That's
No,
just
I'm not.
a fault.
Because
No.
It's
No,
not the
wait,
same thing. There are, SubCom team games are really fun, and most people play team games. Our team games, they're really shit, but most people play team games anyway. There.
No.
Look,
so
that
wait,
is
wait,
it.
wait, 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 wait a
3v3
second.
Stormgate is kind of, and I'm not trying to be too hopium with this, but 3v3 Stormgate is where I'm kind of pinning my argument on, in that it will be much more social. It's a 3v3 mode. It will be RTS at its core, because it's based obviously on Stormgate, which is at its core an RTS, but with the kind of inclusion of, as far as I know, like the modified co-op heroes, which is, in my mind, bringing in MOBA elements. And it's not that I want things to move extremely to the MOBA side, but those things, like you have a hero unit that you control, are to me MOBA-esque. And I think, so my idea here is that it's not that RTS team games are bad or not fun, but I think that RTS as a genre tends not to be like that sociable. And I think that is a big reason why a lot of people moved. And I think a big way to get people back into RTS is by stealing MOBA elements such as heroes. I've been interrupting Lorimbo, so he has to go because otherwise he'll explode.
No, wait. The reason why, no, because it's very frustrating to me, because I wanted to bring up a point that actually would, I think there's been a bit of miscommunication here, Blodir. And maybe I can explain HaRT's point slightly better. He can correct me if it's not what he's saying, because it's actually what I completely agree with him. I think it's slightly more nuanced than what you're saying. What HaRT is talking about, to me at least, is not necessarily single player versus team games. It's not like this. At least I think R2 is talking about a more complete part of the experience. As I was explaining before the show, and I genuinely do all this to be true, I believe in this kind of situation it's not only important if the team, like if the main focus of the game is teams or single player or stuff like that, but stuff like, for example, how easy is it to get into the game? Does this game get more fun when you play with friends? How does the fun scale? And now I'm not gonna say that RTS cannot have some of those elements working very well. A lot of people really like team games. I've made a point on this podcast before that people really, really tend to conflate RTS with 1v1, while stuff like arcade and team games are insane.
Yeah.
Co-op
is necessarily minimum 2 people, right? And it's really popular.
But I also think, hear
me out. You're bringing up so many points here. I'm not sure what we need to be, we want to be discussing here right now.
Let me make a single point, okay?
Yeah.
Is that fine? I think RTS as a genre, due to some of their specific features, such as big number of units and complex mechanics that we usually call macro and micro, are harder to get into and harder to recommend to other people. Those things might also affect, I say might because it's very hard to make these judgments, the experience in multiplayers, making it less fun to play with friends compared to something that's very easy to get into.
Okay, let me reply to that. So there are lots of casual RTS adjacent games.
Yes.
There are games like Civilization, there's all the 4K games.
Yes.
I don't know, all casual, I didn't play them, but
they're super fun.
Like Warhammer, even, like tabletop games. There's a lot of nerd games, okay? There's a lot of spreadsheet games. All of these, I would almost say all of them are adjacent in some way, right? And you can kind of feel that like all of those gamers could easily be RTS players. And that we're talking about like millions and millions of people here, right? All of those people are willing to put some effort into learning a game. And also it's like when you play a city builder, you're just like not faced with everything at once. And people get into it just fine. Like even casual players, like my ex played the shit out of City Skylines. I'm not gonna lie. She loved it. She wasn't a gamer. Like you have that all the time, right? Like people love that stuff. And by the way, like a lot of the mobile games, you build stuff. You build a town, you build whatever, right? You build a farm. Those are like pretty universal fantasy, like, and like you could even have an RTS game that I think appeals to even more casual audience in terms of like just have more building in it, have more building a little village and shit. And that's all that is really cool part of RTS for me. And like a lot of the StarCraft 2 community is not really, like seems to be like, oh, we just want to micro units around.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
one of the
One
things
second, sorry.
that's okay. You go. Okay.
You bring up an excellent point, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. When you discuss this, you talked a lot about RTS adjacent game. My understanding of that, and I played Warhammer. No, sorry, not 40K though. The high fantasy version.
Sigmar, I played that too. When I was a kid.
What the hell is it called? The
Age of
normal, like
Sigmar?
the high fantasy.
Age of Sigmar, yeah.
Age of Sigmar, yeah, the one with high elves and shit. I played high elves, of course. That's the only days I remember.
Like Chaos,
It's been 10 years. Yeah. I played Warhammer. I played stuff like Magic the Gathering, which is unironically, in my opinion, kind of RTS adjacent. I'm 0% sarcastic with this, but
I can totally agree. Like, I can totally see people like there being overlap. Like, a lot of MTG players would enjoy.
And stuff like that.
Like, I feel like, unironically, a large percentage of people who are fans of Lord of the Rings would enjoy. Just
there
because that's like.
There is an RTS. No, there is a Lord of the Ring RTS, by the way.
Blodir. Yeah, Middle-earth.
Yeah, I actually played it. It's very old. I played it.
It's really good.
I actually can tell you that one of a very good like Protoss player that we had in our clan, someone called Luke from Team Air, was actually originally introduced to StarCraft from Battle from Middle-earth, which I always made fun of because let's say that while it's a really fun game, it's very old and it really shows some of the more early 2000s, early 2000 game design vibes.
I will say, the things. I think there's an active modded community for Battle for Middle-earth. I think they're adding like more and more units in as well.
It's called Eden. It's called Eden Fight Club. That's where Luke's come from. I've actually joined that server, so I happen to know about it. But those games that you mentioned, while complex, all share one important factor. You kinda learn at your own pace, which is what you stated too, right? Like you are not presented with everything at once, right?
Yeah.
You kinda like you go there and like you go with your friends, and then your friend is like, look, Magic the Gathering, we have planes, we have lands, and then you tap lands to play spell. Everything is a spell. Like
it's a bad example because it's hard to get into MTG.
Yeah, actually, MTG is hard.
But there are
like
City
Skyline. Civilization, I think, is also fairly easy to get.
Civilization, you do have like.
It is 4X.
Like, it is turn-based, but like you do have a pressure. You're playing skirmish against boss. That's how you play Civ 5. It's just like RTS, basically.
Well, no. I'm thinking with Civ 6 actually.
I play Civ 6.
We're not starting the Civ 6 conversation.
No, we are not starting. Okay, let's take City Skyline. Okay, so because my point isn't exactly which games are easier to get into. I feel like all of those games, more or less, like at several things. Some of them are based in real life, which is an advantage because it means that you actually physically go to a place and there physically are people there helping you specifically learn the game. That's how I learned Warhammer, for example. It's very different, in my opinion, going to a place and then someone's like, look, I'll show you how to play, compared to someone having to make the effort by themselves to be like, I want to learn this. And secondly, I don't think this is unfixable, by the way. My point is that RTS is a genre uniquely successful. It's uniquely exposed to this kind of problems compared to other genre. And a lot of... Sorry?
I disagree.
Why?
All you need is a campaign. That's exactly how it works. Like City Skylines, you get a single building at a time or something. You literally just do that. Like, have you ever tried to get someone into RTS campaigns? Because I actually have multiple times, in fact. I can tell you it does not work. I love the StarCraft campaign, for example, and the Age of Empires one. Those are two of my favorite ones. I've tried to introduce my dad,
I'll try to introduce my brother. My dad played Age of Empires in 2005 as the first game I ever remember seeing in my life. The first video game that I ever saw and technically played. I was 5. Is Age of Empires when I was 5. It was so. It's not like it's a genre of games that was completely foreign to him. They don't really get invested.
I think so many of these campaigns are so removed to the competitive experience, because if you put someone that's played the Terran campaign and then you say, okay, Q is Terran, they're gonna get like Zerglings from a 12 pool, and they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Because when they play normally, they sit in their base and they like build up a massive army, and then they A move and they're like, wow, battle cruisers are so cool.
That was actually
that's what you want. That's what, like, when you get into StarCraft. I mean, when you get into RTS games in general, you don't want the StarCraft treatment. You're not there. You're not signing up for the 12 pool. Okay, what you're signing up for is to make big badass units. Okay, big armies, make cool bases. That's what you want. Okay, when I was a kid, I started playing AoE2, right? Sickest bases, okay? So cool. Such a sick empire, okay? Cool battles. Trebuchets, castles. It was awesome, okay? It was so cool.
This is
You
the
know when I
problem.
played Battlefront Midler?
so cancer.
Reenacted Helm's Deep. What can I say? It was
That
really
was good.
Really
But
great.
this is the problem: is I started on Age of Empires 1, where catapults, all units cost 1 supply, and catapults one-shot every other unit. So the late game is always inevitably mass catapult against mass catapult. Sucks. The game is so bad. There are some people watching this who are like actually like AoE1, and I hate them. No, but
There's
I
a
think
big Vietnamese community for
we're
AoE1.
leaving comments in Vietnamese that I have to reply to through Google Translate. No, but so I think you've made a few good points, and I think they don't disagree with me technically. I'll explain some of the things you've said. So I'm trying to structure this in a way that makes sense. For example, people like 4X games, they like Civ games, they like city builder games like City Skylines, SimCity, and all of these have like turn mechanics or pause mechanics, which means people can take them at a very slow pace. And then we've just said StarCraft ladder is the complete opposite, because you will get cheesed at least some of the time, and people will go to the Reddit and you see it and they're like, there are cannons in my natural 2.5 minutes into the game, what the fuck? And I think this is part of my point, where a MOBA like League of Legends, the early game is slow and predictable, so you are always guaranteed like a
bit of
like
gameplay.
a little bit of game. Like you can ruin it quite early. Like obviously now
Because it's
people
well
are
designed,
like,
not like StarCraft. That's the truth of it. Like, you want the game to start slow and get more volatile as it goes
yeah.
on.
So,
Okay,
so
or
like
the game you start with a couple of abilities on, like, it's cool, it's great, well done. Okay,
like
it's
so now everyone in
StarCraft.
League is like,
Ah,
okay,
StarCraft is-
open. They're like, okay, open
It's
mid,
StarCraft.
and the game is over at 10 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. But I think generally one of the things I think that RTS can learn is to take from these kind of genres and have modes that are more beginner friendly. And I hope 3v3 Stormgate has this kind of like slower paced early game that is easier for noobs, not to be hurtful with the language, but noobs to get into. And I think you've raised a good point that doesn't disagree with my point. I think you've raised a point about the inapproachability of RTS, which is a point that I think kind of does need to be addressed.
But also, sorry to interrupt you, Blodir. None of the games that you mentioned, well, technically LOL, have a tutorial. You don't play the campaign for those games. You don't play.
When
you
I played
have
AoE for the first time, I didn't play the tutorial, I'll admit, okay? I
No.
actually have no idea, but like, you just meant to skirmish and you made stuff, right? And you can do that if you have a good RTS like AoE2. You can just go into
No.
skirmish, have a good time,
I've
making
done
stuff.
that. I've done it at AO2, and I was already Grandmaster in StarCraft. So I was like, I wasn't even like the average. I had a terrible time. I couldn't understand what anything was doing. Well, of course, different
Okay,
people
yeah.
are gonna have different tastes. Obviously, this is always. But like, if you think City Skylines, one of the reasons why the game works so well, and this is also the same system. Civ 6 has the same system, which is the advisor. You start as tool tips kind of deal.
Yeah, you could have that. That sounds like a really absolutely legit solution.
Like
Absolutely.
my
You don't have
point
to
is
play your first match multiplayer. I mean, maybe you'll just have like some skirmish games first, and you'll have those tooltips in there. Maybe you'll have an AI that doesn't attack you. Maybe that's just defensive. Like, that's absolutely doable.
while I think that there could be a lot of improvement in that sense, and those things that you're saying are completely true. Like those are good ideas. I don't think they are gonna result in the same effect. I just don't. I like to me there will always be a difference. Like even psychologically in a game, like between game A and game B. Okay, game A, you install the game because your friend told you to. Okay, and then you just play the game straight up. Maybe you play a short tutorial. LOL has a like 10 minutes tutorial.
Yeah, like the multiplayer experience will be different if you have to like spend a bunch of time like playing alone first.
Yeah, exactly. You just
That's
go
true. That's true.
instantly there. Or something like City Skyline, right? You
But
buy
if
the
you have
game, you
Co-op
clean.
experience,
Sorry?
you can have a co-op experience like against AI co-op. Like absolutely, that's doable as well. If you want to teach your.
But that doesn't. But there's always that point of translation. I played the campaign for StarCraft.
We're not talking about StarCraft co-op here, okay? You can have co-op missions like you have in.
I agree with Lorimbo on this one. It's like you can play a load of 1v1 against AI, 2v2 against AI, but the AI in StarCraft plays nothing like a real player ever actually plays. I think we're at the point in the game's life cycle where strategies are, even at low levels, are very refined. And people
We're once
kind
again
of know
talking
what they're
about
doing.
the StarCraft issue here. By the way. Once again talking about the StarCraft issue here. There's nothing inherent in RTS games that just makes it so that you cannot have a game mode that is basically the same in multiplayer and in single player, and it's still enjoyable, and you can play it on your own pace. There's nothing in RTS.
Yeah, the real time part, I would say.
The real time part, but like you can have a game where the AI just doesn't attack you, or like does really slowly, or you can have even rubber band.
There is never a transition from there.
You need a way to bridge between this like simulated training into a real game in a way that isn't completely jarring for the person.
It's simulated training though. It's you're playing against a real AI, right? It's exactly the same setting, but it's just an AI instead of a player, and the AI like adapts to your skill level or whatever, right? That's absolutely doable. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's as easy as you think it is. Because, like, for example, I can give you an example of those games that you mentioned. The Civ series is a game that is so focused on single player, right? The intended, quote unquote, intended experience for Civ games is mostly single player. You make the games, you're playing with the AI, 6 other Civs, 7 other Civs, 10 other Civs, depending on the size of the map, and then you enjoy it. I happen to have recently, like in these 2 weeks, got into Civ 6 multiplayer from having played a bunch of Civ 6 single player. Okay, Civ 6 single player has kind of that thing that you're mentioning. Now you can always have a forever argument where it's like, oh, but it's not good enough. There's like a ways of doing the AI better, scaling it better. But Civ 6 kind of has that, where like the AI scales by having a lot of advantage and stuff, making quote unquote smarter moves. Even
AI design, right?
It's always very dumb.
Like AI is not good enough. It doesn't. It only scales by, giving it like artificial modifiers.
But
right?
then, if your game needs such and like the other side of this coin, right, is okay. Let's suppose you and I, Blodir, we are making an RTS, right? Like we are building one. We're making one. We are the greatest RTS gamers who are doing it. So we're like, okay. Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk gave us $100 million. And they're like, okay, go make the greatest.
Podcast is sponsored by Bill Gates. I feel like you should give him. You should have shown him.
Bill Gates gave us $100 million and just told you, okay, make this RTS, right? And we are starting to think about this, right? How much of our budget needs to go into that part? Because making good AIs, making that transition for RTS specifically, because of their unique when we say there is nothing in RTSs that makes them unique compared to other games. I agree in one sense, it's not impossible. I don't disagree with that. I'm completely with you on that. What I am arguing though is that potential transition for RTS specifically is significantly harder to execute both in time and resources.
Here that going from single player playing as AI to getting crushed by people in Civ 6 multiplayer was hard for you?
Insanely hard. Not even good.
Like again, that's like where you have a player base where you're playing against players who are much more experienced than you. Like I feel like that's gonna happen if you play League of Legends against grandmasters, you know, your first game, you're gonna get wrecked. I mean, well,
No,
it's not gonna be
the
enjoyable,
differ-
right?
but the problem is not getting
Yeah.
wrecked or not getting wrecked. That's not what made it unenjoyable. The thing that made it really unenjoyable was the fact, and it's very similar with RTSs, that the way you improve, at least at the start, there is always like, always you can play alone, never contact the outside world, or you can just look up on YouTube, and that's what I did. For Civ 6, I wanted to play multiplayer. I played a game, I got crashed. I didn't get annoyed at the fact that I got crashed, because I really genuinely don't mind. But it's exactly the same as I mentioned with AO2. The experience was very frustrating for me because I got crashed while I couldn't understand why anything was doing anything. Like, why does this player have so many more units than me? What am I supposed to do? What is like a decentish build order? But I don't mean a perfected build order. I mean, like, is it better to go for science, money, units? How should I evaluate these things? So what do? You go on YouTube, you type Civ 6 beginner build. This is a real story. You're gonna find a channel called Erson. Shout out to Erson, who's never gonna watch this. He's a famous YouTube, 30k subs. Like, you're gonna find a channel called Erson who has like a lot of videos explaining why good players do this, and like giving you various right step beginners. StarCraft had a very similar environment. How many people got into the game? I can testify for myself. The only reason why I ever went from single player, you might not know this, brother, but I played the StarCraft campaign for 7 years.
Yeah, that's dedication right there.
Only the campaign. I've had every achievement. I've completed the campaign like 20 times. Every single campaign. I had all of them. I actually bought the game in 2013. I've tried to get. You can look at my Ranked for the Win account. My account is called Lorimbo. Not for my MMR because that's imprecise. But what is useful is that you can see the number of gameplays. And you're going to see that I play 5 games, 4 times, if I remember, 3 or 4 times between 2013 and 2020. And those correspond to qualification. So what will happen will be like, okay, I really enjoy StarCraft. I played like this campaign 50 times. I'm not 50, like 10 times, right? I want to try the multiplayer. Go into the multiplayer, play 5 games for the quote-unquote placement, and I'm thought, well, this is like gonna calibrate. Then I play like a couple more games, maybe, and I just don't understand anything that's going on. So I just quit. Then a couple of years later, I'm playing the campaign again. I'm like, oh, I really enjoy StarCraft. I played the campaign like 15 times. I want to try the multiplayer. I play the multiplayer, I make the 5 placement games. Same idea, and I just quit. And you can say, I can actually like.
How did
maybe
you eventually get into it then?
Sorry?
How did you eventually get into it?
Do you actually want to know?
I can tell you. He
No.
eventually
Okay.
looked up a guide.
No. That's not what
From-
happened, actually.
Is it not?
No, kinda, but not for what you think. I looked up a guide for a campaign mission. Not because I didn't know how to do it or because I had already every achievement, but because I wanted to know how to specifically do 2 or 3 achievements at the same time. Because I was kind of doing self-imposed challenge. That's what you when you play campaigns a lot, you kind of tend to like play this stupid stuff, right? Oh, only this unit, or like I want to do every achievement at the same time, and so on. I always like doing the stuff like that. So I looked up this build, like I looked up this campaign mission, and it was a channel called Winter Gaming, Winter StarCraft, something like that.
Oh.
And in the corner, at the end of the mission, I see how to get a master with less than 100 APM. I remember this so clearly. It's called it's still available today. This is in 2020. The series is from 2019. I'm like, well, first off, first problem, master in League of Legends, which is the game I was used to, is very high, a very high rank. At least it used to be at the time.
Way higher than in StarCraft.
It's like the equivalent of low GM. So like, and 100 APM, I know what an IPM is, not because of RTS. Just like, okay, I can understand that concept. 100 APM is like fast, at least to my mind at the time. But like, I feel like I like not to. You know what? Like, let's take a look into this. So I click on the video and I watch Winter. I think I played, like, I watched the Platinum one or something. And this playing against Platinum players and Diamond players. And once again, in my mind, because of LOL, a Diamond player is not like a new player. A Diamond player is like someone who has played the game hundreds of hours. And I'm looking at him just winning against these players, just playing like roach builds, very simple, like 2 base on. Like,
Yeah.
I think I can do that. This is not that much different than what I do. Like, I feel like it's not that hard. Like, this doesn't look that hard. Maybe I can do it. Maybe like this game is very easy. So I play the
So
game.
it wasn't okay for you to be in the metal leagues. You were like, I won't play this game if I have to be bad at it. I'm only
No,
gonna
no,
play
no,
this
no,
game
no.
if I'm diamond or
It's
fun.
because once again, it's the same thing. I was under the impression at the time StarCraft multiplayer is impossible to get into, and that was also, by the way, well, that is something that is awfully disappearing. But at the time, there was also like this being pedaled a lot. RTS is the hardest genre. Like nothing even comes close. You have to be like 300 EQ, 500 Hz to even get into it. It's the superior genre. Every other pro player is a scrub compared to the real skilled gamer. People sometimes do this with fighting games too, by the way. You know what I'm talking about, bro? Like this kind of
But yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean. Yeah, I know. What
It's
you mean.
like you'd have to
Like-
500 APM, otherwise you might as well not even try.
yeah, like this kind of rhetoric. Now, I heard this kind of rhetoric floating in gaming space. Then I tried the game and I actually tried to like play the multiplayer. And this rhetoric seemed to check up, to check.
Yeah.
Oh,
You didn't understand why you lost. That was like a big deal.
yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, maybe they are right. Maybe this game is like insanely hard and so on. So the problem wasn't
It-
exact.
If it was communicated better, like resource advantage, let's say, or something like that, do you think it would be easier to get into because you'd understand why you lost? That you had just like
I
less
would
than-
say no, because for 6 Civ, you have like kind of all the numbers, like resource advantage and stuff. At least
Yeah, but it's not
partially.
clear. If you have 100 billion different numbers, like it's not going to be exactly clear for you.
Yeah,
right?
but I feel like you're well. Of course, it really depends on the specific games, right? I don't want to make the mistake of just mentioning StarCraft, but even for something like Battle Aces, which you are familiar with, it's not that easy to actually like evaluate the
Oh, it's
game.
definitely not easy because like this game is so simple, and then you get to choose from all these different units. and
Yeah,
then
it's like
you like second guess yourself. Oh, did I pick the wrong unit? Did I pick the wrong
yeah,
strategy?
exactly.
And I didn't win this matchup.
How
Is
do
it
you
even
even how do you even
Yeah.
quantify stuff like this? It's like if you take obviously complicated RTSs, like stuff like StarCraft, obviously, it's hard. Then I think something like Age of Empires, right? Age of
That's the
Empires
thing,
2 has
bro.
the score. Sorry?
with other games? Like, isn't it like you play a league and you're like, well, I don't know, how am I even supposed to win against that? Like, it's that a normal feeling that you get when you play league, right? Like, how am I even supposed to win against that champion? Like, what how,
The-
how do you
I think
play?
the
League,
thing is- okay.
it's more obvious because you can see when people are fed. And you're like, oh, that guy got loads of
But it's
kills,
not-
he's really strong.
It's like when you're laning, like you're playing against like a bad matchup or something, or maybe you just
Yes.
don't understand the matchup, and you're like,
yes,
what am I even supposed to do?
yes and no.
Yeah.
First off, I think, I mean, this might change. As in, this is heavily dependent on stuff like server, how many Smurfs there are, obviously,
Mhm.
and stuff like that. I generally think.
In every server, the low ratings are going to be the same. Let's be honest.
Sorry?
The
No,
low
I
ratings.
mean, no. What I meant is that there is like very unpopulated servers tend to have a lot of alt accounts. I'm not talking about RTS here. I'm talking in general. This because like you have like alt accounts in different servers. I'm talking stuff like MMOs and stuff. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, generally speaking, as I said, depends on the server and a bunch of stuff. I feel like the beginner experience in LoL was more evenish. Like 50% of the time, without understanding anything, I would be hyper fed and just, oh wow, I'm doing 1 billion damage. This is so cool. 50% of the time, I would be like, oh, my opponent is broken. I don't know what, like, how do you even win against? Like,
At least you got the 50% where you're like, oh, this is awesome.
exactly. Like, now, obviously, I'm exaggerating, but the reality is like, it's a bit more of a spectrum, right? While even in lower leagues, StarCraft is a weird game because you can play a lot of it and stay in the same league.
That's
And-
the same for League, though, like League of Legends as well. It's the
No,
same.
no. Wait, I'm saying even at the start, League makes you play an insane amount of games before you
Really?
even get ranked.
Yep.
You don't
Right.
really have an understanding of it. Like the beginner, first off, you have to play against bots, but not a lot of games, and that's kind of like
Oh,
whatever.
Can we talk about that? How it's bad to play against bots because you can't immediately get into games in League, but you apparently can't because you have to play against bots. No, so
You can play. I
But
think
the-
I only have to play 2
Yeah,
matches
they-
against
They
bots.
only do it in League because it's free to make an account and they don't want
Yeah.
No, but
people
you have to play.
spam
You have to
make
play
free
two.
accounts. I think it's like 5 or 10 games against bots
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
like
It's
five,
not
and you
many.
can play like co-op versus bots as well.
Yeah,
You can play
you
with
can
your
also
friends.
play customs. You can also play customs, if I recall correctly. I don't
Mm,
like that either, but customs
think so.
against boss, I'm pretty sure they work. If I because at least if
Yeah.
you're used to. When I used
Well,
to boost
custom games
accounts,
queue, right? I guess, but like not normal queue. I don't think
I've
you
it's
have
been
to
a
play the
long while since I made a new account. I'm gonna be honest in
But let's
something
say
like
it's
It's
one tutorial
in
game which
2010
is
for me, but yeah.
there's like one tutorial
But
game which is single player. Then I think you have to do like 5 or 10, or maybe like till level 5 against bots, which is like a normal queue, but everyone in the game is playing against bots. It's
by
5
the
big
way,
bots.
I can give up a purely anecdotal experience, Blodir, but at least to make you understand like kind of the difference was for me. I remember it's been more than 10 years, and still remember one of my first games ever. I'm like level 15 something, like in the client, so not in the game. I'm playing Akali. I was like trying to only play Akali. I didn't really understand what One Trick King was at the time. I was 13 or 12. This was like the start of League of Legends for me. It was like 2012, 2013, season 2. I'm playing Akali, and there's like this one game I'm playing. I still remember Diana mid. I don't. This is the kind of insane how long I remember this. At the time I was like hyper. I didn't even farm. Like that was also the thing. Like it was a game where like you could just kind of do whatever, and as long as you did some things right, it kind of felt like you were doing something. I was just like hyper aggressive. This one game I got 30-0. Okay. And at the time I did not understand English at all. So everyone writes to me like in the opposite chat, Akali OP, Akali OP, Akali OP. My mind interpret this. Akali is a very good player. So I kept writing thank you to them. I remember this so clearly.
That's
And
great.
it felt so good. Well, obviously there was a bit of like in my mind, these guys were praising me. So it felt amazing. I was like, oh my god, I'm playing so well. I was a complete kid. I'm playing so well, and everyone is admiring me. Maybe it wouldn't have been as fun if I knew what Akali OP meant.
But okay, so I've got kind of some thoughts about this, and I think you're not wrong in what we're calling. I think we're calling it the StarCraft problem, which is that even at low leagues, you are going to hit people who have a lot more of a clue. Like if you were to install and start trying to play StarCraft today, blind, you're going to get cannon rushed and early link flooded and proxy racks. You're going to be like, I don't know what's going on. Part of me wants to blame this on having a very small community. And I'm not calling it a dead game because I don't want all of that guys commenting to come and spam dead game.
Oh my god, that guy was so bad.
But I do think that when you have a more alive game, the chances of you hitting lower level players who are all your level and therefore getting more competitive and therefore more fun games is higher. So I think
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Can I tell you?
sure.
Can I just stop you guys right there and tell you why I think it's hard to get into StarCraft 2?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
as a new player, in like when you're going from single player to multiplayer, it's because you don't get to do any of the things that you want to do in an RTS game. Like it's none of the things that are the reason that you play RTS are there, right? You don't build cool play bases. You don't make cool armies. You don't make BCs. Okay, we're not making Thors or battle cruisers. Okay. Like that sucks. We're not making a Leviathan. Like what the hell? Why am I playing this game? I wanted to make a Leviathan, right? That's what you play RTS for. StarCraft doesn't allow for that. Like that when you go into game,
I agree.
couple,
But
why?
I have a question for you. And there was there was a mode called training mode where the main base, and I think it had a pocket natural, but the main base had like big rocks that took ages to kill. So everyone was guaranteed 2 bases. And I think for a while you had to play training mode for a bit to like before you got to actually play the game. And I don't think training mode is necessarily that bad. And I think so in my opinion, in my utopian vision, I can foresee a future in which Stormgate is built around almost a 3v3 mode where it's almost training mode. Let's say the first 5 minutes of the game, no one can even get to the other side of the map, and everyone is just killing creeps and hanging out and building up a cool base and macroing. And this, I think, will get people to get a taste for the game and can get people into the game much better than throwing them in at the deep end, like you're saying. And it's like, okay, so the early game is so optimized. I can't ever go to BCs because I'm gonna die if I try and rush there, or You know, if I try and play slowly and chill, I'll die. So like, I don't disagree with you, but I think encouraging, like we were saying, the slow build up that you see in MOBAs, where you're guaranteed like 5-10 minutes of laning every game, is something that RTS could learn.
And the other thing I wanted to say, 1 second, brother, is that I actually think I think what you said here is like actually straight up wrong. By omission, really. And I'm gonna give you 2 reasons for this. First off, I feel like, yeah, building a big army and the bases are things that are really cool and players want to do. But the games that, you know, make you do that, like allow you to do that very freely, tend to get some of the other things that are really cool and you want to do, like, oh, it feels amazing when Bailings blow up a mina line. Oh, I got such a good disruptor shop. I got such a good fight. Like, look at this amazing thing. This is my first critique. And second is the proof of what I just said in the first thing is I can give you 2 examples actually of games that let you do this, but that are RTS, which is the Age of Empires series. And as much as I love the game and I think they are really good games, and I do think there are people join them, I don't think they pull up numbers that are insanely higher than standards. So people still find those games to be hard to get into, but they do allow, like, believe me, in Age of Empires 2, you couldn't die before 10 minutes if you tried.
Yeah. No, okay, let me blow your guys' minds, okay?
Okay.
It is actually allowed. It's legal to make a game that's not StarCraft 2. Now, it's crazy, I know, but legitimately, it is entirely possible to make a game, an RTS game, where you don't die in 5 minutes to cannon rush. Okay, that is absolutely plausible, and it exists. I mean, AO2, like you said, and AO2, by the way, super popular back in the day, right? It's a super old game, right?
Yeah.
Brood War isn't that big either, right? AO2 had a re-release, cool. I mean, Brood War did too, kind of. But like, AO2 is like growing, you know, it's actually kind of thriving. It's like at the best point it's ever been almost. It's doing good, okay? Like, AO2 is sick.
Yeah.
Right? People love it, okay? And it's not perfect. It has lots of issues. You know, you have to first learn 55 civs or something shit like that, you know, to play the game. You know, you have to, you know, the controls. You know, you don't have proper drag scroll. You have to like fucking edge scroll your
double tapping a control group, putting you in the middle of the map is also another, putting the camera in the middle of the...
Yeah, then you like, what else is there? No, I lost my train of thought there.
I don't disagree. So I had there are kind of 2 thoughts here. Firstly, I had a conversation with friend of the show, Boanan, who you may or may not know is world famous cannon rusher, and I asked him, do you think people would support a ban on cannon rushing? Like, if the next time you logged into StarCraft,
cannon rushing,
there was a box that popped up and said, like, vote here, ban cannon rush, like, we'll just remove it from the game. It won't be possible through some divine method. I don't know. Yes or no? And I think more people would click yes than no. He says the opposite. But here's my kind of more broader point, is that Stormgate seemed to go this way, where every time there was a kind of Imba strat like this, they seemed quite keen on getting rid of it. So early on it was bunker rushing. When it was only Vanguard versus Vanguard, people would spam bunkers because everyone is always going to go for the lowest hanging fruit, and that was strong. So they banned that.
Like Meat Farm Rush?
There was Meat Farm Rush, which they got rid of. They said, this is dumb, it shouldn't be in the game. They got rid of it. They got rid of proxy builds, like Proxy Vault.
That got Lou Hollis into the game. Meat Farm Rush was the thing that got Lou Hollis.
Proxy Towers from Infernal was banned. And then, and I've been mad about this forever, they put Celestials in the game, which is like Cannon Rush the race. And I was like, the fuck is going on? What are you people doing?
What are they even doing? Celestials are like... Oh my god! They're the least fun race you can possibly make. It's so
stupid, and I hate it. So I might start a petition just to ban Celestia, just get rid of it. But I think so. I was kind of watching the development of this game, and I thought this is really cool because in any game, humans, any group of players will seek like the quickest effective strategy, which is like meat farm rushing. So as soon as everyone realized, it's like, okay, meat farm rush, everyone spams it. Like, you couldn't ladder against Inferno, and you were going to get meat farm rushed. So like this is always a problem, and to me it seemed like they were quite keen on not having any of these strats in your game. Now, we've talked about on the show before that, like, if you remove the lowest hanging fruit, you just shift it higher like an inch. Like, the next hanging fruit becomes the lowest hanging fruit until like, and so I think what you're saying, like, you don't have to have a game where you get can rushed and lose in 3 minutes. That's true, but to have a game where everyone has to play mass BC means that you're almost like artificially extending the length of the game, like a trading mode, where it's like, okay, there are rocks outside your base that you can't destroy until 20 minutes into the game. Well, now like you've almost enforced artificial no rush 20, and I don't have a problem with this. And if they're like, some people will really enjoy these types of games.
You wouldn't believe that you don't need to add rocks to the map to do that. Okay,
know.
you can just make the early game not volatile. You can make a game,
Right.
like SubCom, where if you play a team game, okay, it has issues too, right? But like you play a team game, and a lot of people, like the noobs, all play like these team games where they get to just like go to the late game, right? And it works, and everybody loves it, and you didn't have to
Yeah.
change any rules. You just had to have a different map.
And this
You
is
know,
true
it's the
in
way it's designed in
StarCraft.
RTS.
In StarCraft, there's big
Yeah.
game hunters where you have like a base that mines super fast and you never run out of money. And
Yeah,
there are loads of
fair.
people that like always play big game hunters and they really like it. Also, I just had a great idea, and we should get you back for Supreme Commander content, and we'll play Team Supreme
Yeah,
Commander games.
actually,
And you
we
can
should
teach us
play
how to play
Teams.
SubCom. We'll do that.
Possible. I think it would be easier for you to get into bar at this point, to be honest. Like you said, it is
Okay.
for Lorimbo.
We
It
can
is
do that
really
too.
hard, much harder. Like SubCom is the vastly superior game, right? But bar has a lot of hype around it. Saga of 2 players, they're kind of small brain, so it's like much easier to
Wait,
get.
at
Yeah.
least present my point correctly. What did I say? I said that because of a series of things that had nothing to do with the game itself,
Yeah.
with the community surrounding
but
it,
also-
and like technical issues, getting into Subcom specifically was not easy. Understanding how the game worked was not easy. The beginner experience was like very, very unfriendly. And of course, I can persist because I know the game is good, because Blodir told me a million times, and Mixu keeps getting angry every time I say that Subcom is a shit game as a joke. He says, no, you cannot say that Subcom is a good game. I swear to God, like I think Subcom is like financiated by the Finnish government or something. It's like a Finnish
They
institution.
have conscription in Finland, but instead of like training to fight a war, you just play Supreme Commander for 20 hours.
Like there is no other explanation for like every single Finnish player I know is so obsessed by this one niche RTS. But my point is, I cannot disprove you, Blodir. But the problem is that like what you say is always unfalsifiable.
of course, yeah.
There's like always a possibility that you can make like the perfect RTS ever that fixes every single issue that we talked about, right? Like getting into the game, transitioning from like the quote unquote tutorial area to a more standard play, non-competitive, not competitive, just
not 6K
consistent
MMR,
gaming.
but
No,
real ladder
even like,
experience.
not even ladder,
Okay,
just
okay.
consistent playing. Like switching from, oh, this is a game I'm learning, to, oh, this is a game that I enjoy playing and that I keep playing at the same level. Like even normal games, bots game, whatever your deal is. I'm talking purely as like in
Can I
the
interrupt you?
transition.
Because I had a thought to exemplify this point.
Yeah.
There are loads of people and all they play is ARAM. And
Yeah.
Scarlet, the pro Zerg player, only played 2v2 for like years, I think, famously.
Meteos, one of the best junglers in the world in the very early seasons of League of Legends, was actually infamous because he only played normal because he was very anxious about playing ranked forever. Then he played ranked and shot up to the top of the ladder. He was one of the very first master players. He got like from 0 to pro without ever actually touching the whole experience in ladder. And one of the things that he always said was like, I'm not sure I would have ever became a pro player if I actually played ladder instead of playing like my own thing and then playing ladder when I felt ready. Like if I was forced to only play ladder. But my point is, why would you create this game? Why would you make an RTS with this feature, with this utopian RTS that fixes every single problem, when you can just make a very good game? Like I'm not talking just a cheap rip-off in another genre that just doesn't have the same challenges.
Well, I can tell you about talk with you about the problems of that. Like, of course,
Yeah,
like
tell me.
there's definitely like problems to RTS development, which is I think one of the reasons why it's not bigger. We see indie RTSs all the time, right? Like we see indie single player games,
Yeah,
like they are billions. I haven't played it,
it's
but
good. Very very good
It's really
games, by
good.
the way.
Yeah, it's good.
Very
yeah,
good
it's
games.
right, and people seem to enjoy them and stuff. They just don't have multiplayer because Unity isn't deterministic, and so you can't have lockstep. You can't have that networking model. So because you can't have that, you can't really have replays unless you have like 300 megabyte files. So you basically end up with having to write your own engine. At least like the
Yeah,
simulation part of the engine you have to write yourself. That's what Snowplay does, right? They have the simulation. And then they have like rendering in Unreal Engine, and didn't go too well for them considering their you know game looks like shit. But
we are supposed to be
I'm
more
sorry.
neutral today.
I'm
We
sorry.
are
I
supposed to
wish
be.
all the best.
We need to put.
For the record, I
I'm gonna
wish
put
all
a
the
thing
best.
on the bottom of the screen that says like the view of our guests do not represent the views of the All Things Real Time
But
podcast.
the problem is that they
I
do.
wish I could
We,
say that was the greatest looking game of all time. I have to say it like it is,
the
Okay.
problem is that they do represent. We just try really hard not to
Yeah.
say them.
I'm gonna get
Yeah.
flamed by that guy.
Everybody
Again.
agrees with this take, so I'm not like we're not treading any new ground here. Anyways, yeah. So that's hard, right? Like, so the part of like where you have to write your own engine, and you're just like, you're just out of school. You're like this, script guy. You took a couple of classes in programming, a couple of classes in game design. From your I don't know boot camp. Like you're not going to be making any game engines anytime soon, right? It's really hard.
Absolutely.
Like that's the hard part. Okay. Usually, hard part is done for you. Okay. You do Unreal Engine. You make your FPS game. Let's go. You don't have to like barely have to code at all. You just do like blueprints or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Same thing like Unity. Yeah. You have to code a little bit, but like it's not. It's not really that complicated.
Outside of the like
Yeah.
insane, it's not that
So
complicated. It's
it,
more user friendly, like a more beginner friendly in the sense of the world of game development.
yeah, the entire ecosystem, game development ecosystem, is geared towards making non-deterministic games, and now we want to make a deterministic game. RTS games tend to be that way. So that's what makes it so hard and so expensive to make them. And then you have to find, it's not just being expensive; it's actually kind of hard to find the talent, to do it too. Like it's not as simple as like you just have a lot of money. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess if
but
you want to really like
yeah,
cash
but
out.
that's the other thing. Like even if you had the money and the talent, right? Like I completely agree with you. By the way, Blodir is absolutely correct here, and this is a huge problem. Like we are not talking about a small difference between how easy it is to make an FPS and how easy to make an RTS. Blodir is, I think, he actually a bit underplayed how fucking insane the difference in difficulty and scales of magnitude is. But let's suppose for a second that we fix that, right?
By the way, I don't want to say that RTS as a genre is harder to make than FPS games, by the way, because FPS, like state replication, networking stuff, that's really hard. Actually, that's way harder than lockstep. It's just that the ecosystem is geared toward that because you have already ready-made tools for you by really good people, right?
Yeah,
Really
no,
good.
but when I say about hard, I'm not arguing in a hard like in a vacuum. I'm arguing hard as in realistically from this point right now. How hard is it to get to that point? Whether you're using other people, other coaching online, instruments like Unreal Engine that people made, then you could argue forever about like if you had to do everything from the scratch and so on, and like how it would work. I don't mind it. Like I'm not a programmer. Well, technically I did some programming, but very bad. So like it's not my area of
You're
expertise.
better. You're a mathematician. That's like the highest thing you can be.
You know that like
Programming is just applied maths.
programming. I found
I agree.
programming to be really nice. Like one of the things I really liked.
Yeah.
It's not like there's this weird stereotype of mathematician like hating programming. We kind of like programming. We're really fans. It's like for a mathematician, programming is like the closest thing of like doing music for a musician. It's like everything that I studied for like now actually feels good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the immediate, but outside of that,
Not when you work at the
Even-
math factory.
yeah, the math. No, it's because like math work is usually very frustrating.
Doing sums.
Well, no, either you are teaching, which can be frustrating, but it's like its own thing. But if you're doing academia, math is like I'll call it a very undeterministic approach. As in, there is I'm trying to solve a problem. You don't know how long it's gonna take. You don't know. There's like no procedure to do it. You're gonna try a bunch of stuff, and maybe you're gonna get it first try, or maybe you're gonna spend 3 years on it and never solve it. You have no guarantees. You have no anything. And like doing research is basically, this is by the way how it works in real academia. Every mathematician has a like real job, as in usually teaching at a university or like doing it, and then they have like the quote unquote research job, and the research job is like, who knows what that will produce? Maybe never, nothing, anything ever. Like you're just gonna waste 10 years of your life and nothing is gonna come out of it, or maybe you're gonna solve a theory. And like there is no guarantees. You don't. Sometimes it feels like you're really close, and then you have to start from scratch. Like the whole part is not very
really
satisfying.
For reference, biological research is the same, except it costs like 10 million times more or something. It's good. It's fun.
Yeah, research in general. I didn't mean to be like make it a mathematician thing specifically, but there are some stuff like that we're like, well, we need to do a project. Like you're an architect, right, or something. You need to do a project. Obviously, you don't know exactly what it's gonna look like, but you kind of know that after a bunch of times, you are gonna have kind of what you need. Like there are times that are a bit more consistent, I feel like, compared to stuff like biology or math. But okay, this was a weird aside thing.
You always make up your results like that one guy recently. Wait, what was it again? Biology with
you did. Wait, which one are you talking about? The one? Did you see that Bobby Broccoli video? Is that what you're talking about? The guy that just
the video. I just saw it in Hacker News. What was it? Neurobiology guy.
I have no clue anymore.
Yeah.
I remember one guy that almost faked his way to Nobel.
Ruined Alzheimer's research. Is that the one you're thinking of?
That guy, yeah.
Scumbag.
You can feel like that guy.
What the fuck? This
Not
guy?
math,
Okay.
not math though.
The guy faked loads of research. So we have this whole like theory about how Alzheimer's affects your brain and like how it actually works, and it's not true. So like loads of people have been trying to research this like hypothesis and prove this hypothesis, and it's not true.
How the fuck did that happen? Like how long was this guy doing this for? Like this research for?
Years. Like 10 years.
How did this happen? What?
A very similar case with like somebody studying spiders or something as well at some point.
I'm not gonna lie. I think the levels here are not the same. It's like the spiders affect me not at all. Alzheimer's research is quite a lot more important to my life.
A big thing. Because that guy had also just like published like 200 papers or something that were fake. So you know that was a big deal too. Okay, like let's not. Okay, spiders are important too. Okay.
Okay. Shout out to the spiders in the audience. Now is a good time. Yeah. We have a break in the action. It's time to ask Blodir the banana question.
But I feel like he listened to so many podcasts.
I feel like he knows the banana question.
What's the banana question? I have no idea. I haven't listened to that many. I'm like, you guys are not as important as I make you sound.
Brother, you comment on every one of our videos. Don't even pretend you're our number one fan.
Only like 2 or 3 videos.
Okay, so I'm gonna once again ask the banana question. Okay, I'm gonna describe a behavior to you. Yes. Not like a behavior, and you're gonna have to tell me whether this behavior is normal and acceptable or unhinged, okay, or anything in between, obviously. Okay. So a guy and their friend and his friend walk into a supermarket, and one of the guys is saying he wants to have bananas for breakfast. Okay, so they go to the fruit section. But, oh well, there are no singular bananas. There are only basket of bananas.
Oh, yeah, I've heard this, yeah.
So the guy takes the basket of bananas, rips one, and goes to the cashier with one banana, pays for the one banana by weight, and gets out. Is this behavior understandable and normal or unhinged?
So the guy is HaRT, and the other guy is you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of normal here. Like, you'd rather take the ones that are separate, but like, yeah, you do just kind of split as many as you need. You know, that's just normal here. I feel like.
I love
Okay, and
Finland. Perkele.
we should keep like a score count. I
It's
think
nice
that even
thing- Look, it's a nice thing to take the entire thing, right? Like, if you can, but like, and if you see like 2 on the side and you need only 2, like, you'd rather take those, right? But it's normal to just take as many as you need. Yeah.
we should have like a score counter about like because we had actually had, I think Art can confirm, we had actually had like pretty close to 50-50 answers to this.
No,
I feel like it's leaning more your way at the moment, to be honest.
What if? What
I
if
would
you
say-
need 2
No, I would
bananas?
say it's actually leaning
Why is
your
banana
way.
so
Really?
bad?
Yeah, so okay, it's probably 50-50.
It's
We
probably
both
50.
felt like it was, it was like leaning the other way. I feel like it's really, this actually is like a 50-50 question, Blodir. It's
I'm living alone, okay? I'm not gonna eat 5 bananas in like 3 days.
the
It's not
best
gonna happen.
part.
This is what
The
I'm
best
saying.
part is that everyone we ask this to always has like, okay, this is a super obvious answer. Like they always have a, it's not like, oh, I see the problem. No, they're always like, this is super obvious. I don't see how anyone else can think the other way. And so are we and Art. And yet we get a complete split. Like half of them are like, obviously you can just take 1 banana. And the other half is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? How the fuck would you do that? It's like, it's while usually the train questions heavily leaning towards me.
I mean,
I'm
the,
really
train
surprised.
the train question was unhinged. Okay,
I
I
think
kind of
that-
want to circle back to
Okay.
something we kind of touched on earlier, which was the kind of social aspect. And Stormgate had definitely pushed itself as this like social experience, which turned out to be a Discord server.
Not
Which
anymore, they aren't.
I would argue is not that sociable. But
The most social RTS. Also, sorry. I'm gonna interrupt you 1 second because otherwise I will forget. Okay, keep your thoughts in mind. Don't
I
forget
got
them.
it. Yeah, I got it.
On a side note, because I just mentioned it, this is something that is happening more and more, and it's complete cancer. That modern video games don't have wikis or like communities. You just get told, go to this Discord.
Yeah,
Go to
Like
Discord.
and
It's like every community too. It's like forums disappear and they're just Discord forums and you can't find anything from them. And like,
yes,
how do you join the
it's-
Discord to do it? It's horrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Like,
bad.
friend of the show Zane told me this probably like 3 or 4 years ago, where he said like Discord sucks because it means that all of the information you need is like in some location that you will never really find, and Discord searchability sucks, and like it now has a forum function, and that's gonna suck too.
no, but it also like Discord can be nuked. Some bad actor might come in after like a grievance with someone and just delete everything they ever
Elon Musk.
posted.
I said,
You know,
yeah.
Elon Musk could buy it, and then
And
would
turn
be
it off in
terrible.
Brazil.
Yeah, turn it up in Brazil. Discord could be banned in Russia,
In Russia or
China,
Turkey, yeah.
or Turkey. It's
Yeah.
already banned in China. So like, it just
Yeah, it's
Okay,
not the way to go.
Yeah,
You-
people can't find that information legally for them. Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah.
you can go on now, Art. I just wanted to do my piece against like
good call. Yeah, I got it.
Discord
No, yeah, well
forums.
done. Yeah, I got it. While I agree that Stormgate has something to be decided in terms of like social area, let's say, I also think it's obviously not their like main focus at the moment, when they need to be careful how they're spending their money and what they spend it on. But I will point out that we met Blodir and a few really good now friends through Stormgate and through trying to solve Stormgate and the early games of Stormgate.
Through Discord, yeah.
That was actually okay.
Stormgate was a lot better at that point as well.
Yeah,
like it
definitely.
was legitimately better than it is now. Yeah.
But you know why that works so well? I feel like. First of all, I genuinely think I will die on this hill. Okay. I think the first patch that we played, I don't know if this was also the first patch that Blodir played, but the one
played, on the previous one as well with like all the blue
Okay.
bubbles, right?
the Infernal, the first patch in which Infernal was introduced, was one of the most fun,
That was the best patch.
varied patch I played. Yeah, I like it. I genuinely think so. Like, I have 0% scarcity. I think it was one of the patch where I genuinely saw like a lot of units being played.
They saw a lot of potential. Like at that point, I was like excited for Stormgate. I was like,
Same.
"Yo, that's cool." And by the way, like the patch per use of that kind of sucked ass, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, they made so much progress in like a few months. Like, damn, okay, we're
This
going
is-
somewhere.
Yeah, this is like I played that. I actually had a discussion about this because at the time I played that patch of Stormgate. Then I played the first patch of Zero Space, which had, let's say, some heavy issue that now got solved because I complained a lot about it. In fact, I can say that I wrote a 13-page
famous
manifesto.
Zero Space Manifesto. Yeah.
I wrote a 13-page manifesto that was read in real life in the office of the Zero Space developer. Like there was a round table with people around it, and my fucking 13-page manifesto on it. It's like really fucking
son of
insane,
Unabomber, we call him.
It's a son of RTS Unabomber. But at the time, I played the first patch of Zero Space. I said, Stormgate is like so much better. It's insane. I was so awful for it. I showed a lot of things. That's the first thing. The other thing was a very small community.
I didn't even shield for it. I was in the start of
I
the
did
event,
so
like
too.
finished one. I was telling Sarah, like, when are you gonna get Stormgate? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like let's go play Stormgate.
On second thought, maybe Sarah was at a
like,
better.
Yeah, maybe it's better you didn't play it.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe
at
we
that
spared
point, it looked
Sarah.
really good. Yeah, it looked really good at that point. Yeah.
Maybe
So,
we spared Sarah some
to kind of,
heartache.
I
It had
agree.
just a
I
bar
don't
effect,
disagree, but I wonder how much of that feeling comes from the game being so unsolved and the kind of it's much more fun to like play a very new game and you're like no one knows what's going on and everyone's trying to figure everything out and like how the meta is developing rapidly has to contribute in at least a small way to like how you feel about the game. But I'm curious like how you I thought about this a lot and like because I see a lot of people say this but I don't know whether it's just new game syndrome or whether this is like an objective thing.
No. I gave every beta or alpha or whatever a shot, right? That's the only one I played a lot on, right? Like all the others I've like played for, 20, 30 games. I'm like, okay, no, this is not. Especially when Celestials came out, I was just like, I'm done. That's it.
There were two betas that, well, don't even beta, 2 patches total that I played the game on like consistently. As in, I actually played the game.
As in like 100 hours in a week. Yeah.
Yeah, even more than that. A lot.
No, yeah, you are a gamer. Like you go far.
Like I don't know if Blodir is the same as me, but I was hard there. Like I will play for. It was infamous. You will see me stream on the Discord for like 10 hours straight. From like I will go to sleep at 4 a.m. like 12 p.m. I guess 12 p.m. the next day. You will see me again playing like from the morning up. The moment I woke up, I would go and play Stormgate again. I accumulated so many hours on the time.
Yeah.
It was the banning patch.
Wait, there was also the other patch.
Yeah, the elephant one.
Where you had just the infernal spam billion towers.
Well, that was the end of it, I think. It was the one before Celestial got introduced for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was okay, like okay-ish.
Yeah,
that was the one we played VCL on, right?
Yeah. We played that. That was the one that we played the most actually, like in pure hours. But it was also much longer. I enjoyed it way less than banning.
Was actually kind of fun,
Sorry.
Playing hedgehogs was actually kind of fun.
Yeah, but I think that patch was really toxic.
And they
like
got
I don't
nerfed,
like. Yeah.
But that was the funnest hedgehog patch.
Yeah, like hedgehogs were insanely fun, but were very unfun to play against. But also the game was so imbalanced. Like Inferno was super broken, but at the same time you had to play like in this very super cringe way against hedgehog, like spamming turrets and shit. It was not a fun. Like I just couldn't take it. I just quit that game. And also that was the patch. I think you forgot, Blodir. That was also the patch that the instant infest got introduced. And we're talking about the infest that worked on Fins.
So they had global abilities then, but it was just for like using anima or something, like for the infernals. And at that point I was like, okay, that's bullshit, but like it's just for the infernals, right? And then they added it, like this bullshit mechanic they added to the Terran race as well.
Not on elephant, Lily. We are talking about the car patch. Okay, the car patch. Yeah. Do you remember the infest spell I'm talking about, Blodir?
Yeah, I remember.
Like the original broken spell.
And it was big as well. Like compared to the new one, the current one, it was huge.
Like for anyone else played this,
Fiends also, gave infest, right? Like they also gave other fiends.
Yeah, like there was a patch where there was a spell that cost 25 animus at a bigger range than now, instantly applied infest to everything, and this infest was worked on fiends. And in general, at the time, infest was much better. This was the most broken thing I've ever seen. Like
Yeah.
you would have fights where the guy who had more units would escape because Infest was so oppressive that having more units was actually a disadvantage because not all of them would attack at the same time, and the moment the chain reaction would start, you were just fucked.
Yeah.
So having more units just
you couldn't make dogs because every dog was just basically a fiend for the opponent. So it was like don't make dogs. It's just bait. It's just bait.
okay.
Yeah.
Those were the two ones that I played the most. And what I wanted to tell HaRT is that I personally, at least, felt that while certain things were figured out forever, as in kind of how the game feels, like how the units move and stuff, I would say, from my experience, I played every single patch for at least 50 games, including the one which I quit the earliest, which is the one we played and introduced Celestial.
We played 51 games. Yeah.
Yeah, we played exactly 50 games. No, exactly 50 and then quit. Every single patch I felt like there was quote unquote a war to discover. The meta was very got like it did get figured out a lot of points, but it will change very frequently. Remember, like even small patches, and then like we would figure out so many like random things, like the camps. I remember like the camps super broken stuff in the elephant patch at the start, and then Laser figures out that you actually take the speed camp first, so that's the highest value one, and you can cut it through the woods, and that actually took like a week, and there was so much in experimentation with like cutting through the trees, for example.
Wasn't that
or
called
in the
theory build? Where you
we called it the theory build.
There you go.
I vaguely remember actually it was Albino that came up with it. I'm pretty sure about this actually. Like I'm pretty sure Theory said at the time that Albino told him to do that because he thought it was better.
As Harstam told me about the Fiant build, it's about the moment, not the man.
Yeah, okay. Do you know anything about the Fiant build, Blodir?
No. I haven't followed at all recently.
Don't worry.
Like 20 games.
So I'm one of the highest rated Zerg cheesers in the world.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm well known because not only am I like an insane cheeser, but I also have my own builds, like my own stuff, which is I have a lot of stuff that not almost nobody else plays. Okay, so it's like I'm a very recognizable playstyle. At one point, I come up with a really, really good build. The best build I've ever made, which is like it was a proxy. Actually, okay? I don't have to go into the details. And so this build was so good, I could beat pro players with it in ZVP. Like I beat Arsene with it. Of course, it wouldn't work 3 times in a row, but except against Christianer, in which it did work 6 times in a row. but like this build was like legit powerful, like legit stuff. So I give this build to one of my best friends, which is a good Fiant, who's way better than me at the game, like in the macro aspect, and just a generally better player. So it goes to Home Story Cup, and like this Home Story Cup has a prize for the best cheese, 500 euros for the best cheese. So I gave him this, and I tell him, look, this is broken. He practices a lot. He takes a lot of games. Like, okay, this is good. Goes there, beats Skillus with it, gets the 500 bucks. It was not even close.
Skillus is my man because he's played Barn.
Yeah. But he's also like a very good StarCraft player, a pro player. So, except because of all of this, now the build is now known as the Fiant build.
God damn it.
Despite the fact that I made it, and that Fiant also said that I made it like multiple times, and that I gave it to Harstam. Like Harstam asked me for builds. I gave him the build and still fucking called it the Fiant build.
God damn it!
Like, it's like you can. It's like everything, and also it's either for my builds. Actually, another thing that can happen is if it's not Fiant, the one that gets attributed to is Eric. So I only play Fiant build or Eric builds. all of the builds that I make are one of the two. And poor Eric makes so many cool builds by himself. He doesn't need to have mine too. Okay, jokes aside. I can see everyone getting bored of this story. Let's go. Okay, what time are we running on HaRT?
1:35 right now.
Okay, usually we do around 2 hours. Let's do like, something that makes Blodir feel happy. Okay?
Oh, it's time to talk about
It's the time to chill. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Blodir,
Yes.
in a reasonably timed manner, give me your best pitch about SubCom and about BAR, like separately.
Okay.
Like, why
Um,
should
so
someone play SubCom?
you know how like in Stormgate and other games, right? They wanted to make the game like they wanted to reduce the mechanical requirements to play the game. Like they wanted to add the quick macro panel. They wanted to like in some games, like I think in maybe in AOE1, no AOM, they added like auto workers. Haven't played it. In some game, they added like you can
Yeah, yeah,
automatically
yeah.
do workers and like
It was something called Buddy Bot for customs, and I think
yeah,
it
it
worked
didn't
in
really work out
in
for
co-op.
some game, but
Yeah,
they like kind of tried to do that. And like for like battle aces, they like they did their thing where you
I
just build an
mean,
expansion and now you build workers, right? You do all this stuff, right? And all of that, it's just like like it's kind of like feels like I'm just like a band-aid, like they're just trying to add a thing to reduce the mechanics, but like fundamentally, like the mechanic is that you click the button and build workers, and that's like gives you the most control, right? Okay, now go on to the TA family of games, that's Total Annihilation, from like StarCraft original era, basically
yeah.
similar. So in that game, you just produce units differently. Instead of having to pay upfront for the entire unit, you just have a production line and where you spend resources over time. So you have like a storage of resources and you spend it over time while you're building units. Okay, and so you could just have an infinite repeat in queue, and it would at the same pace just be spending resources, you tags will be popping out infinitely, right? So that's basically how macro works, and it's like elegant and beautiful, and it just like feels right and works right, and you could just have that. Like you could even have like the same way of gathering resources as you do in Stormgate, which is by the way really dumb. Like I don't know why we have this big floating rock, but
Yeah, the rock
anyways,
is bad.
like,
I think
but
the demand from Warcraft 3 is what inspired it.
yeah, you can. I like AOE 2 personally, but anyways, like you can have any way of collecting resources, but you can have this production thing where like, okay, we can have these repeating queues and it all makes sense and it all works out, and it's actually kind of more complex. It makes economy way more complex, but or a little bit more complex at least, and so you have that. Okay, so that's cool. That reduces the mechanical amount while still being like kind of higher skill cap, like mentally taxing, and you can just it scales like it scales to more units, more production facilities, way better than the clicking thing does, right? So you have that part, okay, and then you have part like you know how in AOE 2 you can just assist things,
You can,
you know
sorry?
in AOE 2 you can assist things to make them build faster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you have that, so you're like trying to balance, like that's like a kind of a third resource where you like try to balance the amount of build power you have. So you have to like you have a bank in storage, right? And then you have to like have workers or factories or something to spend that money that you have in storage, you know, and that's kind of like a big thing of like how you distribute your build power into different things. Um,
Okay. I am without going like into all of the specific, right?
you understand this?
No, I understand. It's like, well,
Yeah.
as far as I understand, it's similar to how Factorio plays. If you ever played that,
Not really true though. It is
why?
simpler than Factory. I mean, I haven't really played Factory, so I wouldn't really know. But like, as I understand it, it's simpler than Factory. It is literally you could add this to Stormgate right now, pretty much. It would make the game literally better, I think, and without any of the dumb shit, like because like in the upfront payment thing that we have, like I just don't think that the repeating orders really works that well. Anyways, so I'm just saying this solves all the issues of like, oh, we have all these like mechanical tasks that you have to do. And by the way, in StarCraft, like 2, right? I think that in beta they added injects, right? And like mules and things because the game was too easy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like nobody likes them. Like, okay, there's a couple of guys who like them, but like generally populace, like the only people who like them are the people who have played this game all this time, right? Like
One sec.
there's a massive selection bias, right? Obviously, but in general, like the general RTS audience, that's not what they're in for. A lot of people complain about. There's like, I don't want to play this, like this dance game in my RTS, right? it's okay. Like I get that a lot. Some people do like it, but there's a selection bias. And some people will like it.
No, I hate injecting, for example, but I will
Yeah,
tell
we
you
talked
that
about
at
it a
one
lot
point
here
they try.
before,
Yeah, at one point they did try to remove it, and people
Yeah.
did not like the game
Because it's
without
too easy.
it.
Because the game is too simple. Yeah. Like the game just gets
Mm,
so easy once you remove those things. That's why they were added in the first place, right? And
I'm
then
not
that's
sure
why
about
the game
why
is
they
so
were
fast.
added. I
You
don't
play
know
on
about that.
faster. That's why you play on faster because the game is so simple. Like it doesn't work on the slower speed because it gets boring as hell, right? The thing
Okay.
is, when you play a game like SubCom or even like BAR, there is a lot more units. There's a lot more stuff to do. There's just way more. There's way higher skill cap because you just have all these units out on the field, and they're all spread out across the map because of the way that you have to collect resources, where you have to expand all of the map. So you have to fight all over the map. So you're fighting in 3, 4 locations. You're fighting plus air. You know, if you're playing SubCom, you're fighting also air. You might be fighting navy, right? You're fighting on all these fronts at the same time. So it's actually like a super high skill cap game without making it super fast or anything like that. It's like it's really easy to have 400 APM in StarCraft, but just, you just click some buttons really fast because you have muscle memory. In SubCom, you have to like make a decision at every point whenever you do something, right? Does that make sense?
Oh, I was thinking if that is actually a good thing. Well, not as in like obviously some people like it, but it's like if it's a generically to good thing. Like, it does that make a better game? You could argue that it makes it better than the inject thing, but I feel like the inject, while not perfect, I complain about it a lot, right? The inject and the mules kind of
Mhm.
split the APM cap, let's put it, the difficulty into the game into two sections, right? There is a section where you think about the game, you scout what build am I gonna do, when do I have to make overlords and stuff, and that actually requires thinking. You can say, oh well, it's all muscle memory making overlords and stuff, but I can assure you that even after playing thousands of games, you have certain things that you have to think about. Not a lot compared to other
I still
games.
have not much. I mean, I played a decent amount of StarCraft. I did like what's like 5.4 Zerg. So it's like it's not like I didn't play at all. But like
Yeah, but like as I said, let me finish 1 second. Right, so I felt like StarCraft does this thing where it splits the difficulty between saying, okay, a bit of the difficulty is in the strategy part, and you can argue it's too little, it's too hard, like
Mhm.
that's the and another part of the difficulty is the mechanical part,
Yeah.
which you can say, well, actually, the mechanical part is like too much in StarCraft, right? But
Yeah,
like,
it's more
to me,
RT than S.
yeah, like it's like
Yeah,
R
yeah.
capital T and small
Look,
s.
it's still always going to be an advantage in an RTS game to do things fast. If you have more things to do than there are, like that you can possibly do, right? Then there's always going to be this thing like if you are fast at doing the things that you're doing, you have an advantage, and that exists in both SubCom and it does in BAR as well, as long as you're not playing AVA.
I can ask you two things, actually, two questions, okay? On average, okay, very vaguely, how long would you say an average game of 1v1 SubCom last?
So this is an issue that I have with both BAR and SubCom, and it is that the games are short generally.
Short?
Yeah. So the
How
games
short?
actually often in SubCom and in BAR both, but like I'll just talk about SubCom for now. So in SubCom, like you have these mech spots, right? In both of these games and in TA and whatever, right? All these spring RTS games and all of that, all of those in TA family. They have max points, mass extractor points, right? Which you build a mass extractor on the map, and they're like crazy efficient, right? They're crazy
Okay.
efficient resources, so you have to build them immediately as fast as possible, right? And so if you fall behind in expansion, like you expand a little slower than opponent, because the mass extractors are so efficient, you fall really far behind really fast, really far behind. So if somebody does a small mistake early on, that loses the game really easily. So that is an issue I have with both BAR and SubCom in terms of 1v1s, right? In terms of team games, that doesn't happen because in team games you have
Yeah, I
you know
mean,
you
I've
you
seen the madness.
no, team games are legit a thing, okay? Like in SubCom, team games are legit good. Like 3v3s are absolutely amazing.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
I wasn't trying to disparaging it. It's just I saw it. I was like, okay, this is a wildly different experience than the one I'm used to. Like,
It's a lot better. Like
have you
the
seen those
StarCraft team
8v8
game,
bar
no one likes
games?
them. Yeah, like
Have you seen? No, actually, no. StarCraft team games are really popular amongst the casual audience.
That's the thing. There's a massive market for team games, for good team games. Like in AoE2, team games are better. They're not great, but they are a lot better than they are in StarCraft 2, and it's massively popular there.
For me, it's the
wants to play-
opposite.
A lot of people want to play team games. Like you were talking about, HaRT was talking about MOBAs earlier. A lot of people like team games. Like there's a much bigger market for team games. People like playing them. Awesome. StarCraft 2 team games, people are playing it despite it being bad. And it's like 1v1 is probably bigger in StarCraft than the team games are, even though 1v1
No,
is
I'm not.
Yeah,
as a
like,
mode.
definitely.
It depends. It depends a bit. Wait, it depends a bit on what you mean by team game. As in,
Okay.
1v1 is definitely better, like bigger, like also way bigger. I will even add
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the like team game as in
Of the competitive
pu-
queues, 1v1's
pu-
the biggest.
yeah,
But
yeah.
co-op is
Yeah,
probably
but-
bigger or similar
yeah,
size to
but-
1v1.
like if you consider co-op or
I
arcades.
don't consider co-op. I consider it like 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, right?
Okay, well that's
Co-op
what I said.
is
It depends on
hard.
what you mean by like
It's
team
like an
games.
entire game, different game, right? Like co-op, like at least partially.
It's just that team games like can apply to both, so I wasn't sure which one you were referring to.
I meant specifically PvP.
Yeah. The PvP one is not that popular comparatively.
It's not, and like there's a massive market for them. They just aren't good in StarCraft 2. They are really good in SubCom. People really like them in BAR, but they're like low skill cap in BAR. There's a lot of things that make BAR much lower skill cap than SubCom. I think BAR is a really cool game as well.
Okay, let's talk.
Yeah, let's talk about BAR. So BAR, the things that it does better than SubCom is that it's more performant. Units like there's like in SubCom there's like an inbuilt delay of like 500 milliseconds or something crazy like that.
Wait,
like,
one second. Sorry. Before we go on to BAR for a second, because we actually haven't gotten an answer. I am curious. How long does the average SubCom game actually last? More or less.
So that's hard to answer because it depends on the map entirely. So if it's a small map, it's just going to be like less than 10 minutes, right?
Okay.
In almost every case, it's going to be a small. If it's a
Okay.
really big map, then it can be like take a while to end the game, even if it ends like even if you get ahead, right? And in general, like maybe it will be maybe more even. So in big maps, it can last for like 30 minutes or 20 minutes, right? It generally doesn't go like 40 minutes, but sometimes it does. And it's cool when it does. And it's like if it goes to 1 hour, that's usually like a cool game.
And for the people that want to try it at home or myself,
Yeah.
Can we remind them where and how to find it? Found the game, I mean. So first off, the precise title is.
The game is Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. So that's the expansion to the original Supreme Commander, right? It's just like Brood War is StarCraft. It's not hard to understand. There was also Supreme Commander 2, which is not popular, right? So Supreme Commander Forged Alliance is the game that I'm talking about here. And Forged Alliance Forever is the community project because the game was shut down like ages ago, right? Community project that revived the game in 2012. And I've been playing it since 2013. It's the greatest game. So FAForever.com.
Okay, thank you. FAForever.com if you want to try it.
All the FAA Forever things, they include like there's a chat, there's friends list, and there's like lobbies, there's ladders, there's team game ladder as well. There's map generator, like that's really cool.
It's a bunch of resources for the game.
Apps, map wall, massive building maps. There's replays. It used to have like 2,000 concurrent players at peak times. Now it's a bit less, but it's not a dead game. Okay.
It's I just wanted to make it clear because, as I said, and I'm not kidding about this. The fact that these games are not on Steam or easily reachable.
So you can buy it from Steam, or if you want to buy it from G2A, I'm not gonna hate you because like we're not giving money to developers anymore at this point. So just go fucking buy it from G2A. It's okay. So for like €2. Okay, it's basically free. Just buy it for €2. It's okay. And so you can buy it from Steam, and then you download the FAForever.com. You download the client, and then you can play multiplayer. You can play co-op and things like that through there. Yeah.
Okay, now we can go on BAR. Sorry.
Okay, and so the way that BAR is different is the good things about BAR is that like I said, it's more performant. In SubCom, units are kind of clumsy because there's input delay. Because
that's actually the other question I wanted to question. How does SubCom feel like mechanically?
So in terms of like input delay, it feels really bad, right? Or like not really bad. There's games that work feel forced. Like there used to be this game called Battleforge. Sick game. I love that game. You know, like it's such a nerd thing. Fucking love it. Super bad input delay, and like you couldn't like the clicks would register in the wrong spots and things. Yeah. Okay. So it's not that bad. Okay, but it is. You know, it's it's not StarCraft. You know, it moves slowly. There's like the simulation is run at like a slow tick rate. Like I think StarCraft, like I don't remember actually what StarCraft's run at, like 20 hertz maybe. You know, we're talking about like, you know, I don't know, what was it, 3 hertz or something? It's like it's much slower the tick rate for the simulation.
Okay.
So there's a noticeable input delay, and so BAR doesn't like BAR. It performs much faster. It has much faster tick rate. I don't know what it is, but it's much faster. So that's really cool about it. I think like pretty much everything else is worse, but so it performs.
You have to. I started
performs
to make
better
me
if
a
you know.
pitch. You have to sell me on the
That's
game.
right. No, but legit, I do recommend that people play that if they want to, because like it's like, you know, so it's an open source project, so that's really cool. And like I said, it performs really well. Like, you know, like you can 20x replays, pretty much, or maybe not 20x, but 10x or whatever it caps at. You know, you can go really fast. It's you know, it doesn't have any of the performance problems like in SubCom. You would have simulations run just on a single thread, so it couldn't use all your cores with modern CPUs and stuff. It's much, you know, has performance issues. BAR doesn't have any performance issues. It plays just like StarCraft pretty much, just as fast, just as snappy. It's really cool.
Okay. So that's a
It's
big thing, for example, that I hear. So you're
it's
saying that mechanically speaking, it feels StarCraft
yeah, it
level.
feels like StarCraft a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so very clean movement. Okay.
Yeah. So in BAR, you basically what's different from SubCom is that the way that it's balanced is that you basically just build one factory at a time, and then you build a bunch of things that assist the factory. This makes it way easier to get into because the game is just easier. Like it's way more simple. So you basically just have one factory at a time, and then you reclaim your factory and switch to another factory. It's kind of silly, but that's the way it goes. So that's the different, like the main biggest difference between SubCom and BAR, I would say. And then like besides that, like, you know, it's an open source project. The units don't look that great because they're, you know, made by, you know, not professional artists and things like that. But yeah, so BAR plays really like fast in 1v1. So you get to play like from minute one, like just like you play StarCraft, right? You're playing the Zerglings or something, you know, you do your 12 pools and whatever. In BAR, if you play ticks, you know, the Armada bots, whatever, I don't know what I'm talking about, but you play a specific type of opening, you're gonna be microing from like minute one, right? With like super fast units, just like Zerglings, and they insta kill all the buildings like really fast. So you have to be like, it's like really razor blade, you know, razor's edge type of gameplay, right? Which a lot of people like, and you know, I know you Thermal is a thick enjoyer, so I
Of
guess
course he is.
yeah,
Of course he is.
Um,
And-
but then you
but
can play, yeah, you
my
can play more
understanding,
solid style too. Like I play grunts pretty much again, which is like a slower unit.
my understanding is also that if you want an experience where you don't get killed in 1 minute by your opponent if you play poorly, you can. There is also multiplayer games, right? So it's not.
There's team games and like, so I'm not sure what the path is exactly that I would recommend, but 8v8 games are really popular. They're like pretty low skill cap. Like I don't personally like them at all. But
You can
for
you can
some players, they're
you
like,
can try both.
yeah, we can try both. They are very popular. They're like, you know, you get to play with just like your own little segment of the map, like a little lane for yourself, because there's 8, you know, there's 8 players per team. Like, you know, there's only so much space. Like, they don't make that big maps, right? Generally, you also have sometimes like 32 versus 32. You know, it actually like they do that, or like absolutely insane. So if you want to try that, just for the sake of trying, like, what can you do in an RTS game? Like, go for it. You know.
I feel like Isn't there a point where you're like, there's so many players where it feels like you are completely meaningless? Like, oh yeah, I want my
Oh, yeah,
little
yeah.
battle. The other 31
How do you
guys
even
to
tell
start.
them
Fair
apart?
If you're playing a 32 versus 32, and I haven't played one, but like, there's gonna be a lot of cheaters in the game, right? Like, there's gonna be a lot of varying skill levels. So if you are one of the better players, then you know you can outscale them, and eventually you are the important person. But yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I don't play 32 versus 32s, but if you want to see what that's like, you can
Bar
play it.
gives you. And
Bar
where
gives you
would you?
that. Also, there are special events though. Like usually it's Captivate, probably I think. But yeah, doing special events, they do crazy shit like that, which is cool. 88, but 88 is very, very popular. You know, you play your own lane. You kind of get to the late game always. In 1v1, you don't unless you're really good, which is, you know, I have balance complaints, big ones. You know, that's me.
Wait
Hey,
a second. Wait a second. Write me the name of the unit that you think is the most OP, and then I will spam it to the top of the ladder, and then just every time you complain about it, just tell you, you're completely
I
OP.
hate to say Lorimbo, but I'm the top of the ladder, so you're not gonna do
Yeah,
that.
I'm gonna get to the top of the ladder by beating you, and then you complain about it. I know you're at the top of the ladder.
I think Shrey is probably it's like a flying little drone thing that stuns things. I think that's probably the most OP unit in the game.
Okay, I'm just gonna play Mass Shrey, get to the top of the ladder, beat you, and then run to you. Skill issue, copium, Shrey, completely balanced unit.
I'd like to see you try. Unfortunately for you, it's like it's not that simple. You can't just spam it. So,
yeah, obviously, I will. If you know,
I know.
if I could get to the top of the ladder by spamming,
Or
by
if you
spamming
were
one
like
unit,
Stormgate, you could just spam dogs, right?
well, no, you have
Not
to
anymore.
play the.
Not anymore.
It's
Yeah.
over. So,
yeah. But like,
back to
if you could spam
Laces.
one second, if you could spam one unit and get to the top of the ladder, the game would be called Battle Aces, obviously.
Oh, true.
Back to Laces. I've just announced their
Yeah, my finger.
opening for the next beta. I think 7th of November, but don't hold me on that. And I think
Right.
Zero Space will be shortly after. Which one of those do you think are you most looking forward to?
I'm probably not gonna play either one. Like I'm working. Well, I might try this Stormgate one if it looks really good when the 3 comes out eventually. But like in general, like Battle Aces. Well, Zero Space I haven't tried yet. Battle Aces, maybe. Like it's a fun game to play a little bit. It's like Tooth and Tail. Have you guys heard of Tooth and Tail?
Yes.
So good.
The one with
just say-
the rat with the mouse, right?
Yeah.
Or am I completely misremembering?
It's number one for a little bit.
No, I remember seeing it.
It's awesome. It really is a good game. The thing is, it's a small indie RTS, like every sense of the definition here. Okay, we're actually talking about 40 million budget here. Okay, we're talking about actually one guy, like doing most of the things, and then like having a couple of dudes help him out, or like some artist, right? And like like Austin Wintry, I think, wrote the music or something like that.
How does it compare to
Okay.
Undertale?
So it compares to Battle Aces, in that they're both like these fun little games that you can like play kind of casually, and they're kind of fun and kind of short, and you just kind of play them. And they're like simplified RTS both. So I think the Tooth and Tail is still more fun. It's like goes completely opposite direction, where it's like more decision making based, and Battle Aces is like more unit. I guess it's also decision making based, but like I don't know.
I felt like the decisions are actually like unironically fairly important.
Yeah,
The problem is that a lot of those decisions were forced with battle.
Yeah.
Like you had like sometimes you like enter the game, have a deck, see your opponent deck, and then you're like, okay, this is a game where neither of us can have our tech. Because the moment one of us techs, our opponent immediately counter picks the tech, and then the game is over. Like because of the way certain things, like especially the time it takes to upgrade to one of the two, it just becomes impossible to.
So it doesn't have longevity in my eyes. Like unless they do something dramatically different, maybe they add like 50 more tech levels and it suddenly becomes better. But like, yeah, currently and in its current form, I just like it was fun for what it was, but it's not gonna be like a thing that I'm gonna be keep playing. I keep coming back to for one.
I actually think the opposite. Well, not as in you are gonna keep playing more, But as in,
I think you're gonna do it.
yeah, I'm gonna force you. I'm gonna come show up at like at Blodir's house and like force him to play. I feel like out of it, every like quote unquote new RTS, I could see like battle is becoming a game that's like wildly not a very competitive one or like high skill cap or anything, but Blodir, do you know how many players play Clash Royale? Do you have a clue how shit Clash Royale is? After playing Battle Aces, I went back. I played Clash Royale. I wanted to try it. Like after all, it's the game that everyone compared it to. I knew how the game worked mechanically. Was I was like, okay, I'm gonna play a bunch of it. Like I want to like feel how this like how do so many people play it? How there's so much money. Bloody, do you know how shit it is?
No, but
Like
like that's a game which doesn't have the pressure of like having to micro units, right?
Yeah, but it's also like a game where your opponent can like pay $20 to just have a unit that does twice the damage of you. Like it's a like there are some things that are less frustrating and pressured, but like some of the other things I felt so infuriating. It's inconceivable to me. So many players play the game. I really feel like Battle Aces could really do it because I feel like it's like it has that kind of very toxic, in my opinion, cycle of just one more game. It's more like spam games because they're so short. Like they are very short and very like quick to the point. So you just spam a minion. Before you know it, you've been playing it for 4 hours and stuff. Like kind of mobile game addiction.
So weird though. It's like barely an RTS. Like it is an RTS, but like you just don't get the same fantasy in it that you do in RTS games in general. I don't know what the fantasy is supposed to be in it. I think a lot of the units are cool. Like it's way cooler than
I'll tell
Stormgate.
you the fantasy.
Yeah.
The fantasy is cat bus. It's all about the cat bus.
It's all about the cat.
Producer Pad has done the legwork for us. Alpha test for Zero Space. So it's closed until from the 1st of November till the 21st. But you should be able to watch it on Twitch from the 15th to the 21st, which would be really cool to see what people's kind of reaction to seeing more and more Zero Spaces. Obviously, I think they've seen like tiny bits of like Clem playing, but like not really seen a lot. Am I right? Or was it public?
What? Zero Space.
Zero Space.
No, Zero Space, at least like streaming wise, was public for most of its days, actually. Especially we only had 2 patches so far. The second patch was the last one.
And then
was completely
free demo
streamable.
weekend. This is a note for everyone's calendar. Will be 22nd to 24th of November, so that should be cool. And I was also
this one you can actually everyone can play.
7th of November for Battle Aces.
People really like it, right? Like Zero Space has been received a lot better than Stormgate has, right? Like a lot of people really like Zero Space.
Okay, so as I said, I really hated the game at first. First of all, I have to disclose, as I said before. At one point, like they did hire me for a one-time consultation. Didn't affect the game, my opinion of the game.
Famous guy.
Sorry?
Famous guy.
No, that was after the 13-page manifesto. That one was for free. That one was out of spite. Like, I really like Zero Space. I think it's like the closest thing I found to like a StarCraft experience. It has basically kind of an in-between thing between what you said about SubCom and what Zero Space does. So one of the things that I really, really liked, and I mean, this is not exactly like SubCom, because the units are still paid up front, but only the unit that you're producing is paid up front for, which means that you can queue as many units as you like, and you don't pay for the queue. And more importantly, you can queue buildings too. You can almost queue kind of everything. There are some things that don't.
That's what you do in SubCom, by the way. You just make massive queues of things,
Yeah, exactly. So that exactly when you explained that, it reminded me of how Zero Space worked.
There's also really cool UI things, by the way, like moving around waypoints. Like you have a shift queue. Like in StarCraft, obviously, you just like don't shift queue things that much.
Yeah.
But in SubCom you do, and you can move. Like it's a really nice interface for like just moving your waypoints out of your shift queues. Like if you build something in the wrong spot, you literally just move it. It's really cool. Like you hold shift and then you move it.
Well, I wouldn't know about it, but it's like as I said, for Zero Space, they made this like big macro change which at the same time didn't feel like they also Zero Space also doesn't have workers. It has extractors, which the way it works basically, you make an extractor and it starts producing, and then like the more time it passes, the better the extractor becomes up to a
It
point.
basically has auto build workers till saturation.
So do you spread out on the map a lot?
Yes.
So you know
Even
how
too much.
Stormgate-
Even too much. At one point, it became really popular. You can only put bases in bases spot. You cannot put them anywhere.
It's like
But let's just
settlements,
say,
like in Age of Empires, where there's like
yeah.
a location where you can build a TC. It's like that.
Yeah,
That's-
but what?
there's no that doesn't exist anywhere too.
Yeah, like in AO2, it doesn't.
It's an AoE4 thing, though.
No, ignore whatever art say. You can expand whenever
It's
you
an
want.
AOM
In Age of
thing.
Yeah, in AOM you have
Yeah.
it. Okay. So there are like it's basically like Stark, like you have bases with miners and stuff. Except you can only put the base in the right spot. You cannot just put it in the middle of the map or proxy hatch or something. So it's like a place like StarCraft essentially. And good thing is at one point, because of certain things, it became really popular to just keep making bases and new building, but specifically in as much as far as you possibly can, and like going to your opponent base, a line of stuff that just would start at your like
they
original.
are like too strong in the bases, right? And like they're too strong defensively or something, right?
No, the problem there was the depots actually could be morphed into cannons, and those could be
Once
built
again,
anywhere.
Cannon Rush.
It already got patched.
Do you know this thing where it's like crabs have evolved like 50 times or something? This is like Cannon Rush has evolved like 50 times. Every game
Like,
has a Cannon Rush analog.
Every game ends.
BAR doesn't exist in either one of those.
I'm sure it has
There we go.
existed at one point. I'm sure it has existed.
Has never existed and will never exist.
Well,
There has been like T2P, but it's never been good. It's always been kind of bad and just a noob thing, and that was only like really small maps. But anyway, like I wanted to say that in Stormgate they said that they wanted to make it like less death volley, right?
yeah.
So if in Zero Space they have like you have bases everywhere in the map, it should be less death volley, just like in SubCom and
It
BAR,
is
right?
well, it is very death. It is way less death volley, but and this is the caveat I'm gonna say. So Zero Space in general, well, yeah, exactly. So first off, it had a small player base because getting into the game was very expensive. Either you knew someone, so like me, for example, who got in for free.
Oh, okay. I just need to ask you then for the key.
I said before that I will try to get keys.
Don't say this. Don't say this on the podcast because you'll get a million DMs from people you've never
No,
heard of.
okay,
who
don't-
ask you for keys.
Fuck off,
No
fuck
one gets
off.
keys.
Okay,
Do not
either you
message us.
okay, if you are an important person that I know and you are at the level of Blodir, sure. Otherwise, fuck off. If I don't know you, you are a nobody. Like and subscribe, by the way. Okay.
Don't message us. We'll message you. That's what you say.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll call
Don't
you.
message us. That was actually what happened for Blodir for Battle is. I
Yeah,
messaged
Tarps
him.
messaged me actually.
Sorry.
Tarps messaged me actually.
For Battle is too.
Yeah, it was Bellis, wasn't it? Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I gave you the key. So
I know, but Tarps messaged me. He was like, are you playing Bellis? I was like, no, I don't have a key.
No,
and then he
it was-
asked you, right?
No. It was Sacred Coco.
What? He asked?
Yeah. Coco
Okay.
was in the voice chat with me and said, "Oh, Bloody doesn't have a key. I'll just give you one. Give him one." So I had an extra key and I was like wondering who to give him, and he just said, made your name. I was like, "Yeah, sure."
I talked to him literally the same day about it.
Sorry?
I think I talked literally the same day about it to Tarps, and I thought it was him who got the key.
Nope. Oh,
No.
so that no, it was Coco.
Okay.
I mean, the Finnish community is tight like that, Coco always thinks of his boys first.
Oh, that's so nice.
He thinks highly of you. He thinks you're a really good player.
That's
I don't-
nice.
Shout
Okay,
out to
so-
Cyril. Shout out to Mixu. Shout out to Lolis. Shout out to.
Hey,
I'm forgetting
Sarah
a
Lisa-
bunch of ladder heroes. There's
Shout
so many
out to
ladder.
Sarah.
Welmo,
Finnish
come on,
ladder
Welmo, Zogliang, Fuser, Pupu is also really good. And then we got Mirzo,
Heat,
and
yeah,
then we
Mirzo.
have Flipbuster. I know a lot.
You know Flag Balls?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
don't say that name again because it might get us in trouble with YouTube. Uh,
It's FAQ balls, so
I didn't forget him. I specifically chose not to say his name, Blodir. Yeah, shout out to
a lot of people, yeah. You know a lot of people.
This is a good segue.
Luton
Oh, yeah,
Luolis.
Yeah.
It's a good segue.
Zero.
Our next, yeah, true. Our next episode will be coming from Epic LAN, which is in
Yeah.
Kettering, United Kingdom. Shout out to Kettering. But the Finnish community seems the only one that's kind of similar in their like LAN culture to the UK LANs. I feel like
They are better than you guys. 100%.
Yeah, so we had
SC2 Fin is hype, bro. SC2.fi.
Yeah, I played in 2018 or something like StarCraft. I played in the 2018, 2019 Cups, and so we had like a yearly, or we still have, like I still go there every year. Like there's a yearly like event that's held in like November, December, organized by ATRT. I don't know how he wants the name to be pronounced, but he's really cool, and he organizes those. And also we used to have like at some point Fuser organized a bunch of events, like LAN events as well. So there was definitely like in 2020 or something, like there were a lot of things, or 2019. I don't know.
shout to Enpo. We forgot Enpo. And
It's
Wicked
really-
Micro, who has a
Yeah.
banger.
Yeah, also Wave Captain. We cannot forget Wave Captain.
Oh, true.
I know so many. I think I actually know more Finnish players than Italians. I've just realized that. I know so many Finnish players.
Oh,
There
that's
is-
so nice. When are you coming over?
If I have them, if like I ever get the money, I'm definitely visiting Finland. Actually, at one point, there was a small, maybe there still is. There was a small possibility I was gonna go for a master in Tampere, and like really, actually,
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
but I don't know if it's ever happening. Don't like if I ever go for that, I'm fucking visiting every single one of you. I'm showing up to every single. I'm showing up to Seral's house.
You know, we have a bar meetup coming up just very soon, like Finnish bar meetup. You wanna come there?
Yeah, if someone very wealthy in the comments wants to finance my trip to Finland, I promise I will shout you out every day for every beer I drink, which is a bit, well, not zero. I can drink a bit, but very little. I'll shout you out. So please give me like 2k euros to get to Finland. It's very expensive. I'm
It's
not
not
kidding.
that much. 2K, like come on,
Do-
man.
Okay,
No,
that's
what
not
are
gonna
you
cost you
saying?
too.
Okay. All I'm saying is that at least the planes are very expensive. I looked into it.
Fair.
Easily 600 total. Easily. It's very hard to get to Finland. I don't know why. I don't ask me why the fuck is so hard to get to Finland. Then I have to get an apartment or an hotel for like 2 weeks. How much is gonna be? Come on, just give me 2k, and like the rest is gonna be used
No
in
big
like.
deal. Just 2K. You know, I could use a new guitar for 2K.
Yeah, we should ask Bill Gates. Okay, before we end, we're reaching the end of it. This is a surprise, by the way. This is out of the spur moment. Without HaRT saying anything, rate this bread.
It's bread.
Rate it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty lame. Like, it's fresh bread, so it's good, right? All fresh bread is good. But like this particular one is like pretty low in the tier list of fresh bread.
Okay, very nice of you dissing my first time ever making bread. If we can show the bread picture, I made this today, by the way. If you can show the bread picture, production, make sure in the comments you tell me how nice they look. Any grade lower than a 10 will be banned.
It looks like a bun, you know?
Those are buns.
But yeah, but like I mean, like
Okay.
like.
But
or,
now
like,
that we're
what, can you
flaming
put,
his
like,
bread,
stuff on?
how come none
Yeah,
of them
you
are the
know?
same size?
Because I made them by hand. Like I split them
No,
by
it's
hand.
cool.
It's not an excuse.
I'm just saying.
No, I
Like,
didn't weigh
if it was
them.
rye bread, now then you'd be cooking, but you're not.
Wow.
Anyway, you can tell it's the end of the episode because I've gone blurry.
Yeah, the reason why they're all different sizes is because like I split the dough by hand, but the problem is dough for some reason is very hard to judge. Like if you, I didn't wait it. That was my big mistake.
You don't need to wait. You can eyeball it.
No, trust me, you really can't.
You
It's
can.
really,
I
really
promise.
hard,
You can.
brother. I made this today.
Yeah, and
High
they're all
boiling bread.
wrong.
All high boiling dough is hard because they don't grow the same size. These were much closer when I put them in, and
Alright,
they didn't all.
Then you've not mixed your dough well. I hate to. I'm not trying to flame. I'm just saying.
This was mixed very well.
No.
You
Very
can see
poorly.
the same. You can look at like very
Very-
good bakeries,
poorly.
and you will see that the
How big
bread.
was it? Was it really good? Did you tasted it? I'm sure.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I
But
wouldn't say that. Absolutely,
the-
fresh bread
like-
is always good. Like I said.
This one was like the one thing was I made it because I wanted to make bread, not because I like particular bread. I made it sweet, well, not sweet, like neutral, like the one that you would use for a hamburger or something. Compared to normal bread, that's usually a bit salty.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like the burger bread in general is just like not the kind of bread that I'd want to eat.
Yeah, so it's up to preference. This is like soft and creamy and sweet on the sweeter
Try
side.
He's trying to flex his bread, and
It's good. It was
better.
good. It's actually like considering I never made bread in my life, and one day I'm gonna tell you like I'm gonna tell on the pod some of the stories that I incurred into making this bread because of mistranslation. I went into 3 supermarket looking for an ingredient that did exist because I mistranslated it.
What were you
So
trying
it's
to
like,
buy?
okay, so you make bread with a special kind of flour, okay? Usually.
Yeah.
It Americans call it bread flour. So I translate bread flour to something called farina di grano duro, basically hard, wet flour. That's the translation, okay? So I go in the supermarket, I look for this, cannot find it. I go to the next supermarket, look for it, cannot find it. I'm like, shit, like bread is very commonly made in Italy, like very common thing for a mother to do on the weekend. It's not particularly rare. It's like, where the fuck is this like fucking flour? How come everyone makes bread all the time? I cannot find the flour. So I'm looking for it everywhere. And because I'm looking for the flour, the word for flour called farina. And then I find out in my third supermarket that despite technically still being flour, in Italian it's called semola, which semola di grano duro, which is not the word for flour. And I had associated with something else completely. So I thought it was like a completely different thing. So I saw it in the same thing. I was like, oh no, this is not what I need because that's used for other things. No, it was exactly what I was looking for, except I didn't know it was called that. Took me forever. And then I found out, by the way, after I made it, I asked a very good friend, oh, that's an American thing using that particular type of flour. In Italy, we use this other flour that's much more common. Like you did actually need to go look for it. So it was completely used. It took me an hour and a half, by the way, because I made the mistake of going by foot. I like walking instead of driving. So I was like, just gonna be like a nice walk in the park, and I go to the supermarket and go back. Fuck my life, it took forever. Okay, we're now gonna end the episode after.
Blodir, is there anything you want to shout out? Social
Yeah.
media that you want people to find you on?
I want to shout out you, Stormgate, for playing BAR. What a good guy. What a chap. I wish Lorimbo was just like him.
Sure.
Also, I've been streaming a bit, so you can look that up if you want.
Wait,
Sometimes.
what did you say?
I've been streaming a bit, so if you want to look that up.
Can you
That's-
drop
Oh,
your
you are
channel?
streaming?
Where do we find
Yeah,
you
drop
on
your
Twitch?
channel. I could have
Yeah.
sworn I followed you, but I never see you online. But
Oh my god, you're not following me?
no, I said I could have sworn I followed you,
Is
but
it
I
just
never see you
Blodir?
online.
Twitch.tv/Blodir, BLODIR.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for coming. We'll have to do this again sometime. It's been good fun.
Alright, thanks for having me. Yeah.
Good
Cool.
night,
Thank you,
everyone. Like and
everyone.
subscribe.
Remember, smash like and subscribe. Wait, I forgot this episode. Make sure to also give it a 5-star reviews on
Spotify.
the fuck it's called
Yeah,
Spotify.
follow
Yes.
us on Spotify.
If it's not
Follow-
5 stars, don't do it.
Don't bother. Yeah, Art was complaining about
bother,
someone putting like 3 stars
Yeah.
and ruining it
Our
for
average is
forever.
down to like 4 or something. It's dreadful.
Yeah,
You
because
don't
we
wanna
have
be the
2
guy who
reviews.
ruins it, Yeah.
When you have 2 reviews, like a 1-star review really hurts. Anyway, rate the bread. Any comments below 10, will incur into penalties, and bad things will happen. So anyway, we are gonna end this episode. Thank you, Blodir, for being with us, and look forward to the next episode as always.
All right, thanks.
Bye.